Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Sorry, I'm getting late started. I'm setting the timer up earlier and just trying to get things together and all that, and I'm just running late. Forgive me. Please forgive me. Lady Libra. What's up, Lady Libra? Lady Libra, I got to tell you that I was talking to...
In time, Bryan, in this thing that I got, you need a radar to fire.
Okay, I don't know what the heck that is. Okay, I guess his stream's getting started over there. I have to tell you that I was telling Tracy that I was like, oh, I didn't realize that Lady Libra was such and such. And I said when she told me about finding a good spot for her brick, at first I didn't know what it was about until we looked at it, because there's 12 or 13 more bricks that are coming, that are on order. They'll be here like the 15th of May to go in. And when I was telling Tracy that, and she's like, every time I see that, she says, I start crying. She said, it's so beautiful. So I can't wait to get that here and get it put in place and make sure it's going to be a spot where the stars will definitely be there. And what's up, Shane? Ruben Walls. Shout out to Ruben, over 60 months. Just Blaze. What's up, Cowboys family? Chris May. Dem Boys Kicks. Dem Boys, are you coming for the draft? I sent out a message this morning to see who's coming to my house for the draft, so I know how many chicken wings to cook. And I don't know if anybody's coming. It may just be me and Michael Anthony Fitness. Miss Matrix, that lovely lady in the place. What's up? What's up, Miss Matrix? And we got Chris May, Dem Boys Kicks, Night Ninja Book. What's going on? And did I get everybody? Okay. Game Time is starting up on his channel. Let me.
It's game time again.
It's game time.
Time run with the star in the sky.
Okay, I'm going to wait on that one. Okay. So we've got a crazy, crazy day that's happened today between Shannon Sharpe and his early response to knowing that the clip was going to come out. That stuff is crazy. We can definitely say that Shannon Sharpe would make Dirty Sanchez blush. That's some crazy shit. The fact that she's only 20 years old, it's like, bro, what were you thinking? Son of John, appreciate the super chat. And we're going to be doing a lot of draft drawings, and all of the tickets right here that we got Saturday and Sunday and Monday. We're going to take those home, and we're going to be drawing day of the draft on Thursday night. We're going to be giving away. We've got one of our kicker, Brandon Aubrey, that's signed. We've got one of Zach Martin. I know we've got Randy White that's signed. I think we got a Charles Haley, so we're definitely going to be getting those out the way. All right, let's listen in to Game Time.
Welcome him in here.
Okay.
He is the best. He's hysterical. Just watch this video. The one, the only, the longest reigning Giants content creator in the business.
Okay.
The one and only. You guys wanted him. You got him.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and get my mic together.
Unmute.
See, he's not that bright.
There you
He doesn't
go.
even understand how to unmute the
I
mic.
set it up to mute everybody because I got some people who come in with their shit on in the background. Sorry about that. Pizzle, what's going on, brother? What's going on?
All good. Thanks for having me. I am very bright, Mark. I'm very bright, actually. But nevertheless,
light, bright, and Dan is white.
I'm excited for the draft this week. Obviously, all NFL fans probably are. And so, I appreciate Bryan for, allowing me to bless Mark Holmes tonight and bless Philly 500 with my presence.
Well, speaking of Philly 500, he's in the house. We'll let him get settled. But Mark, the Godfather, Mark is in the house, and Mark was just telling me a story. And Philly, welcome Philly 500. You're muted, so just to let you know, I mute everybody. So Mark was telling me something backstage about actually how you and Philly 500 met. Please tell everybody, Mark, on this before we get we start shooting daggers, let's get the niceties out of the way. How did you guys meet?
Okay, actually, let me first say that we've had a jaded love that has been
strap.
the strap that has been the
Cheesy ass
contention
strap.
of a lot of shit that has gone on that I had nothing to do with. But having my father recently pass and talking, of course, the champ over there, he's,
Yeah, we got to get to
the,
that
the
later.
champ and everything else.
Can't-
I had a
can't
shirt
talk
that
it.
was sent to me that literally somebody wrote in a note that it was my dad, and I got it the day after my dad died. And I'm kind of like, Philly, did you send 500 or should I say the champ? But I realized something really freaking amazing is the reason why Philly 500 and me got introduced is because of you, Pizzle. You doing that video that talked about there's a lot of YouTubers that are overrated, talking about me and Philly 500. And the two of us got together like, who the fuck is this idiot? Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Sorry, Dad. I didn't mean to cuss. Who the hell is this idiot? Why is he calling us out? So that's how we actually all got together talking and stuff. So I owe you, I think I owe you
Wow.
for
Wow.
introducing me to Philly 500.
Your thoughts, Pizzle?
Well, this is just what I do. I mean, this is
Bring
why
people together.
Here we
I'm good
go.
for business. I'm the 60-minute man. This is just what I do. I've tried to tell Mark for years. I've tried to tell him for years that I'm just simply good for business. Okay, and he doesn't listen. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, I brought. Look, I will say this. I think we all agree that the NFC East is the best division in football, right? When you think about history, tradition, everything that goes with it, okay? And we can all sit here and play pretend that, it doesn't mean anything each and every week when we play each other. We can all sit here and pretend like this weekend doesn't mean anything. But the reality is it means everything to all of us who are passionate about our teams within this division, right? The divisions like AFC South or NFC West wish they could have the history and this lifeblood that is the NFC East. And so, when Mark says that, I don't want any credit. I want it to have what we have here on YouTube that they have in real life, a rivalry. There should be a rivalry. Now, at the end of the day, we can have a heated debate and we can shake hands when it's all over with. It kills me to look at Philly 500 right now
Welcome, Philly.
as the champion, I mean, every day is a damn nightmare in an Eagles world. Let's just face it.
That
Mark
we can
Holmes,
agree.
Mark Holmes and I have something, or you too, Brian. We have something in common. We are looking up at the Philadelphia Eagles right now, and that sucks.
Well, it's
That
funny
sucks.
because I was talking to Bad Dog, and Bad Dog, he hates
The
the
Eagles.
Eagles
Yeah.
with a passion. I mean, he doesn't even have any sympathy. Like, I don't have a lot of family left on this earth, but what family I do have, they are Eagle fans, except my sister, all my in-laws and all that. They're all Eagle fans, and I'm happy for them. I really am. But speaking of Eagles, he's here, the man, the myth, the legend, Philly 500. Thank you. I don't think we've had you on since maybe right before the season last year. I wouldn't be the first to tell. I mean, I've seen you on chats and stuff. We've poked fun, but congratulations, man, on another Super Bowl. As much as I hate to say that, it is awesome. Believe it or not, I don't know if Philly would, if 500 would say that about the Cowboys, and I understand, but I'm actually okay with it now. We've had some time. The Super Bowl's in the NFC East. How does it feel to really dominate Patrick Mahomes? Like, obviously we're going to talk draft, but how did it feel to dominate Patrick Mahomes, leave no doubt? And it was a really stellar performance. And to Pizzle's point, it sucked watching it, but now that we've had, in some time, congratulations, man. Congrats. You there? You got to unmute yourself. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we got you, bro.
Okay, cool. All right,
So
cool.
go ahead.
No, it feels
man.
great.
And we're going to get
Feels
you, but
great.
not yet.
Feels wonderful, you know? What can I say? The 2 Super Bowl rings I got to see, we beat Tom Brady and we beat Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes going for his 3rd. So, that was one of those Super Bowls nobody could take from us. Nobody could say you were lucky or this play or this call. I mean, that was pure domination from beginning to end.
It was.
So
it was.
it felt good,
time.
man. I thought the Eagles were hungry, man. Felt good about that game going in. I thought Kansas City, to them it was just here we go again, just another game. I don't think it's like the old Rocky. They didn't have the eye of the tiger. They weren't hungry.
Well,
we had the eye of the tiger that day.
I told Mark, Philly. I told Mark, and right after the game, we would do live streams. I would do live streams, and I'm not just saying this. That Eagle team reminded me, and I know people will laugh. Oh man, you got to go back to the '90s. But I'm just telling you how you won the game. It reminded me of the '90s Cowboys because you didn't have to blitz. You got there with your front 4. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's how you win. Anytime you can rush 4, drop 7 in coverage, it's going to be hard. And if you're getting home in doing so, which they tormented him, which is the blueprint for the Cowboys going forward, which is the blueprint for the Giants, you don't want to have to blitz. You want to make these quarterbacks. Most of them suck, these days. Be honest with you. Most of them, you put pressure on a quarterback in the NFL. Normally, it's good things are going to happen. So I just think that was the way. I mean, listen. They gave the MVP to Jalen, and that's great. I won actually some serious money because I knew that what was going to happen. But I thought the defense is what actually won the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl. I mean, the defense was awesome.
Yeah,
defense was also. But they do remind you of that '90s Cowboys. They're built similarly.
You know what I'm saying?
Very fast. They're very fast defensively. Great off. I mean, I think that's the best offensive line I've seen since the '90s Cowboys. To be quite honest with you,
had your
and then you had the running back, and then you say, Hurts goes out, make the throws that you got to make when you have to make them, but he doesn't have to throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Most importantly, Philly, he doesn't. I'm sorry, but I don't.
Doesn't turn a ball over.
Bingo. He doesn't give 7 points to the other team. Now, I'm not saying he hasn't. I mean, but you know what I mean. For the most part, he's not going to lose the game for you, which is
right.
I mean, that's not. I mean, So
listen. I think you also people got to but I think people also have to recognize that he's built to play in big moments in big games. Whether what you think of him as a quarterback and how he throws this, that, the other, he doesn't crumble under pressure. And he's been in 2 Super Bowls now where those were his best games of his career. So I think we got a guy who, if you build a good team around, he will win the big games for you. And I think he's got that clutch gene, and that's nice to have.
Mark, go ahead. Get in there. What do you think about that? I know we're getting the niceties. There's a price to pay for winning the Super Bowl. We'll get to it.
Did we come in here for an Eagle circle jerk here?
No, I just wanted to. I hadn't talked to Philly.
I've heard. I've gotten. I mean, I feel like I'm on. I feel like I'm on.
Bend the knee.
On Dan Cilio's show, man.
Bend the knee, Mark.
Jeez. Okay.
Bend the knee.
All right. Well, then.
Bend the knee, old chap.
Go ahead, Mark.
Congratulations now. Okay. But right now, everybody is 0-0. Okay. It's a new season. Now, you may say the Cowboys just suck and everything else, and they don't care about winning.
They do.
But they actually are trying to do some things. Now, do we have a dysfunctional owner and GM?
What things are they trying to do, Mark?
Hey, I'm going to say we've had some underrated moves like bringing in Dante Fowler at 10.5 sacks last year. We've had a lot of major...
What'd you let him go to begin with?
Well, because we're stupid. I didn't say that they were the geniuses, but they're at least trying to make up for the mistakes that they made last year. Unfortunately, we got to make up for the mistakes we made last year and continue to improve the team for this year. So, yeah, we've got a long ways to go. I'm not going to make any bones about it, but I can't say that the Eagles, that everything is going to go exactly as last year. You're delusional if you think it is.
I don't think it's going to go. I don't think it's going to necessarily go as last year. But you can't tell me that any of these teams are up to the Eagles where they're at right now. Even through the all season, Eagles are still the best team in this conference, let alone maybe the NFL.
Bro,
so I don't know.
Bro, you could have said
they are.
You could have made that argument about San Francisco last year, and what happened to them?
San Francisco didn't win the Super Bowl.
No, but you could. But okay,
San Francisco had injury. Okay, so we got to take in injuries for the Eagles, but we'll ignore everybody else's injury. You don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. But right now, where we sit, this is the best team in the league, and it's not even close.
Truth be told, San Francisco had more lost games than anybody else. Cowboys were second, and you can see both of those teams went down. Injuries are a factor in the NFL. And in both of your Super Bowl years, your teams were really, really healthy, which is unusual. Now, having a longer season, you may have some people break down.
That's not true. In 2017, we lost our starting quarterback, our left tackle. We had injuries out the wazoo.
Not like we had this year. Not like this year.
Oh, we had more injuries than you had in 2017
no, you did
than
not.
you had last year.
No,
we still won.
Oh, bro,
we still found a way to win.
Bro.
Come on, man.
We lost four defensive ends before the season even started.
You're saying that if you guys didn't get injured, you're going to the Super Bowl?
I didn't say we were going to the Super Bowl. But we wouldn't have been in the toilet like we were, Philly.
You're talking
Philly.
You're talking about the champs.
Oh,
you're talking about the champs.
You know what, Dad? I'm trying to do better, Dad. I'm trying not to lose my cool and cuss this mother humper out, man. Okay? All right. Okay. As you always tell us about our dusty old rings and everything else, last year's over. What are we going to do this year?
Yeah, well, this is what I wanted to say. I'm hearing a lot of sweep. Eagles are going to sweep the division. I mean, Eagles have lost 5 big pieces. Okay, you're now in a position. Now you have draft picks coming up. You have 8 draft picks. You have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and 4 5s. So I mean, you have 8 draft picks, but you lost 5 really good football players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say you lost the MVP of the Super Bowl in Josh Sweat. You lost Milton Williams. I'm not saying you're not going to be really good.
They are.
I'm not even saying that you may not win a division. But this whole sweep BS, I think, is ridiculous.
You never heard that coming out. I never said anything about that.
No. And this is what I'm saying, Philly. Even back in the 90s, when we were winning Super Bowls, we always got our ass beat. Whether it was the Giants or the Eagles, I've been at all the Eagles thumpings, at the vet. So, I mean, Pizzle, again, we're giving him his flowers, but it's over. He's picking 32 in the draft this year. Again, expound on what these guys are talking about regarding the Eagles and how far away are the Giants, Cowboys, and Commanders?
Well, let me just say this to Philly 500.
Please do.
Look, I got –
go to that
I have no leg to stand on because honestly, Philly took our guy Saquon and went off and won a Super Bowl with. I mean, it's embarrassing, quite honestly. The Eagles took advantage of 2 crappy organizations in the Titans and Giants and got 2 great players in A.J. Brown and Saquon and have elevated their team with that. In saying this, I will say that as you mentioned, I've been here for a long time. I watched the Giants win a Super Bowl in 07, 08, and then 11 and 12. And, the Eagles have kind of done that in similar years, right? When you have a really good team, can that really good team rattle off a couple Super Bowls, if not a few Super Bowls? The Giants were able to do that at one time, and then we've went downhill since that time. We had a few years we kind of fought, and then after 2016, we have been a dumpster fire. The Giants have. So I will warn Philly 500, even though I don't have a leg to stand on, I will warn Philly 500 that the good times may be good now, but the bad times could be also just around the corner. Let the Giants be an example to you, Philly 500, of that. And I would argue that the Cowboys experienced that in the mid-90s to early 2000s.
I thought it was going to go on forever, Pizzle.
I did too.
I thought it was going to go on forever. And then all of a sudden, in 2 seasons, it was gone.
Gone just like that.
Quarterbacks got old. I mean, Eli was older, and Jalen is in the prime square. I'm not disagreeing. Our windows don't last forever.
That's all
But
I'm
I
saying.
think all I'm saying to you guys is that the Eagles' window is open now. I'm not saying that they're going to repeat. It's very hard to repeat. I get it, but this is still a very good team. If you want to talk about the guys that we lost, I can make an argument that we've already got backups for over half of them, except for two. So,
but I would also argue.
Philly. Yeah,
I would also argue that the Eagles have taken advantage of a piss poor division for the last few years. The Giants have been piss poor. Washington just now got their shit together last year, and the Cowboys.
That may be true, but they're still piss poor. I don't know. The Giants, or what the hell are you guys even doing? Like, what are you even doing? Why would you keep that GM, right? And then try to build the team. You think he cares about your draft picks 2-3 years from now? He's trying to keep his job. I don't know what you're doing.
The seat is hot, Philly. The seat is hot. The seat is hot.
Let's start with the Giants and what's going on. Because just you started out. I'll let Pizzle and Mark go, but this is what's going on. From what I'm gathering, Pizzle there is a power struggle now. There's a power struggle with Joe Shane, right, and Brian Daboll. I'm telling you now that Joe Shane and the scouts want Shedeur Sanders. I'm telling you now that Brian Daboll, he likes big, mobile, opposite of Shedeur Sanders. Okay, so there is a power struggle. Let's be honest; they're both on the hot seat, right? So anyway, just go with that.
Well, because when you have two guys on the hot seat, they're both pointing their fingers at each other, right? So I actually think there's three options for the draft. First of all, the draft starts at 3, in my opinion.
Yes.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
Cam Ward is going 1, and I think Travis Hunter is going 2. Okay. And then I think, the shit hits the fan at 3. So to me, I think there's 3 options. Number 1, you take the son of probably the greatest Dallas Cowboy of all time in Shedeur Sanders. Deion Sanders, in my opinion, is probably the greatest Cowboy to ever live. And so he's obviously Cowboys royalty. And, that would be weird to have Cowboys royalty on the Giants, right? So the Sanders family would then now be New York Giants. I think that's an option. And I think I agree with you that Joe Shane and company probably like him. The alternative of nobody gets what they want, but we just potentially take maybe the best player in the draft, Kavon Carter, would be, I think, the pick that the group would make that wouldn't make anybody mad, right? That would be the neutral pick. He could be the best player. Maybe he is Micah Parsons again. I don't know. That's an option. I think that the league now is in a situation where pass rushers are the best players on the field, right? They are the best players. They wreak havoc. Philly 500 isn't the Eagles are an example of this. They win the trench war each and every week, and maybe the Giants can create a massive advantage in the trenches on the defensive side. But the option number 3, and I think that this is starting to develop because you saw rumors today about the Giants fielding offers. I haven't said this into my I was actually going to make a video tomorrow, so you're getting it first from me, Brian. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you right now. I think that Brian Daboll is fighting to get Jackson Dart. I personally like Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss. I think he fits Brian Daboll's system. I don't think Shedeur fits Brian Daboll's system. Brian Daboll wants to run the RPO game. That's what he wants. I think Jackson Dart can do that. I don't think Shedeur has that in his game. I think Shedeur is a more traditional pocket passing quarterback, whereas Jackson Dart can run, get outside the pocket, throw better.
He's a better thrower of the football.
I am a Jack. But here's the thing: if they take Jackson Dart at 3, then it's going to be hell over again, just like they did when they had Daniel Jones at 6. So what I think could be developing here is you see the Giants potentially dropping back, right, acquiring some more assets, and then getting their quarterback. Where they would go, I don't know, right? because there has been some rumors that some teams want to come up and get the running back from Boise State. Maybe there's somebody that really likes. Maybe somebody really likes Sanders, right? Shador. Maybe somebody really likes Will Campbell, the offensive tackle. Abdul Carter. Yeah, Abdul Carter. Someone maybe like him. I think that you could see the Giants back up out of 3, take Jackson Dart, acquire some more assets, whatever round that would be, and there you go.
What if I told you this? What if I told you this? And late news yesterday, a little bird landed on my shoulder. This is what's going on. Like I said, the whole power struggle is real. Mm-hmm. I believe they will take Abdul Carter.
I do too. I ultimately think that will happen too. Yes.
You know what rumors that is? You know what rumors are flying off that? I'm just going to put it out there.
Go ahead.
Just because Thibodeau to the Eagles.
Oh shit!
Here's the deal, Pizzle.
Watch out.
Right now, the Giants are talking to the Steelers, who don't have any draft picks. They don't have a 3rd-round pick. The Giants at 34 are talking.
I don't think the Steelers have a 2nd-round pick, do they?
I'd have to look.
I don't think that.
Here's the deal. Here's what I'm hearing. Giants, because Jackson Dart is not going to New Orleans. It is on. They are going defense, and I just want everybody in this draft to know defensive ends are going to fly off the board. It is going to be a defensive 1st round. Like I originally mocked the Eagles, maybe Pierce dropped them.
Nah, it ain't happening.
Is skunked. Scorton.
No, they're going to be all gone when we pick. But I agree.
I do have a good player that I know you guys are going to take. But getting back to the Giants,
who I'm taking.
34 to 21. Just remember I told you that. They're going to go from 34 back to the Steelers. Now, I had them going for Shador. I had them going with Abdul Carter. The Saints are not going quarterback. The Saints are going defense. Saints want a replacement for Cam Ward. They want a Cam Ward type body. There's plenty of them. Shamar Stewart, Michael Williams, whoever's there, that's who's going to get it. But I think the Giants are going to find their way back at the top, get the 5th-year option, and get their choice of Shador, who I mocked him, but it makes a lot of sense if you're telling me he loves Jackson Dart that much. Well, if I told you that you got Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart, how would you feel about that?
I'll be honest. You can see my demeanor right now. I'm being open. I am a little bit shell shocked by the last couple years. Be honest with you, as a fan, right? I'm a little bit. My cage has been rattled, and I've had a rough time, right? And
wearing dresses will do that to you.
If you give me Abdul Carter and you give me Jackson Dart, or even if you give me Shador, right? I don't hate Shador.
Either one.
I don't hate Shador. I've already going into the season realizing that Russell Wilson is probably my starting quarterback week 1, right? Maybe there's a chance that Winston gets him, but I still think we're gonna play a veteran quarterback week 1. So with that being said, if you give me Dart and Abdul Carter, I will have life again in my soul, right?
But I think that's Joe Shane's power play. It's like, I gave you Abdul Carter, now I'm taking my guy Shador Sanders. But even if it's Dart, like one of the two, I would think that would be good. Now, again, I mean, and I think that's good. Now, Philly.
And if they come out with no quarterbacks, then what?
Well, again.
Well, look, let me say this. Let me say this, Brian.
For years.
Let me say this, Brian. I disagree. Look, whether you want to admit it or not, quarterbacks come and go, and they emerge each and every year in the NFL draft. If the Giants don't have a guy that they really like, I don't think they should force it. We need stars. We need. Well, no, I'm not saying. I'm talking about.
Go ahead.
Even I've heard Milroe, right, in the 2nd round, the Alabama quarterback, and some people have said, well, he might be like Jalen Hurts. I disagree.
That would be scary, though.
I think he can run. I think he can run great. I don't know how well he can throw, honestly, in the NFL. So, look, I don't think the Giants at the end of the day.
They said the same thing.
At the end of the day, the Giants need to acquire talent, and not just a quarterback for the sake of getting a quarterback. They need talented players. They need dogs on this team. And look, if we get Carter, that would be nice to have this potential scary pass rush. I have heard Eagle fans, and Philly, I haven't heard him say this, but I've had Eagle fans say, "Oh, I can't wait to see who the Giants are going to draft for us at number 3."
Oh,
so I've already heard all the chirping. They're feeling fantastic right now. I get it. We're embarrassed.
Champs,
so Brian, finish answering your question. I just want the Giants to get some talented players this weekend, and let's just go have some fun again, and let's go compete. That's really all I can say about this weekend.
I will say this, though, about the Giants. Oh, I'm sorry, Mark, but I just want to say this one thing. The Giants could complain. You could complain about the Giants not having talent. Maybe they just don't know how to develop it. Because Barkley is just a running back in New York, and then he goes and he has the greatest running back you've ever seen in Philly. Azeez Ojulari coming in, double-digit sacks this year in Philly. You watch.
And let me say this, Phil. Let me say this, and I will eat crow. I will eat crow for this. Not a lot of content creators will do this. I thought Saquon's better days had went. I truly did
too.
I thought he was done. When he showed up in Philly, I said they're not getting what they think they're getting. Well, clearly I was wrong. And I got a pie in the face, and you got a Super Bowl out of it. And so
what you saw, Pizzle,
it kills me.
Running behind the dominant offensive line.
Yeah, he went to a great team from a garbage ass one.
Do you guys know that the last 5 Super Bowls has had a Giants first round pick in it in the last 5 Super Bowls? Did you know that?
Oh, wow.
Yes, Saquon Barkley, OBJ, Kadarius Toney, JPP.
Wow. Well, here's the thing.
That's crazy.
Let me just point out one thing that nobody is really talking about. If you draft Deion Sanders, the minute you lose a game, it's going to be like Mike McCarthy all over again. It's going to be they need to fire him and bring in Deion as the coach.
Mark, that's the smartest thing I have ever seen you say since I've ever seen you on YouTube. And I agree with you on this, Mark, because that is the biggest fear to me about Deion Sanders. And I let me say that I have fallen victim to loving me some Deion Sanders. I did not like him as a child because he was obviously a Cowboy and he was very good and he tormented me as a fan of the Giants. But as I've gotten older, I respect him as a father. I respect how he goes about his business. I love the charisma that he carries. Right, the way I just like me. I like Prime. I really do. But I can tell you that I think any team that Shedeur goes on, if they have any failure whatsoever,
it's going to be over and over again.
It's going to be ESPN is going to be pounding the fuck. Sorry, it's going to be pounding the rock.
World because they're
going to be pounding
without ESPN. They're going it up times 10.
They're going to be pounding the rock on Prime going to whatever team he's on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I look, I don't want that because as much as I love Prime and I love his style and I love how he is, I don't think he would make for a good NFL coach. I just don't. I think he is an okay collegiate coach. I'd love to see him do great at Colorado. I just don't see him being a quality NFL coach. And Deion can also tell everybody, "Oh, I'm not going to the NFL. I'm not going to." The temptation to coach his son in the National Football League, any father would take that on.
Philly 500 would love Deion to coach the Giants. Philly 500 knows that. Back when Irvin was laying on the field, I was there that day. We talked about it. Eagle fans were not booing Irvin being down.
No.
Who were they booing?
They were not. Deion Sanders.
Doing this shit.
Deion Sanders doing his dance thing around them. Yeah, that's exactly right.
So
that's exactly right.
Mark Holmes, this goes back to you, your college football teammate. We didn't win as much as Deion was good. To Pistol's point, obviously, Deion was very good. We didn't win a Super Bowl because of Deion Sanders. We won because
Deion
of one guy.
For the last one.
Charles Haley.
Yeah, he came for the last one. Charles came there, and that was the power shift from San Francisco to finally the Cowboys getting over the hump.
Right.
And, and as much as I hate the Eagles, that front that they have is just unbelievable on the offensive line. And, it makes everything that much better. I envy what the Eagles have done. I wish that we were good enough to go ahead and say, hey, let's take our center who's only been here for 3 years and get him locked up instead of doing like we've done with Tyler Smith, basically saying we put the 5th-year option, and nobody believes he's going to get paid before training camp next year. And that's the reason why we're not.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff, No, but see, but the thing is by doing what the Eagles just did right there, if they had waited till next year, which they could have, you're going to be paying $5 million more for that guy. And you think about every single one of those guys that we do that to, between Dak, CD, Micah, that's $15 million right there that you could be spending on a couple of other guys that make your roster better. The Eagles have recognized it's better for us to sign these guys early, and we're signing them to a contract in today's dollars, but we're actually not going to pay them until tomorrow when those dollars are smaller.
Howie Roseman has come a long way from the.
He's a freaking genius.
Listen,
it's unbelievable. It's
Philly. I met Howie Roseman early on at the Models. It's not even open anymore in Berlin, New Jersey.
Yes, I used to go there. I used to work right near there.
Howie walked in, and I was talking. I had my Dallas shit on, and he was, he was a great guy, but he was kind of like a laughing stock. And then Chip Kelly came in, and he was put in a broom closet. The one thing I can say about Howie Roseman, I think he's the best pro personnel guy, and he's turning into a good drafter. Just how he goes up and down. I actually think, and I'm sorry, everybody wants me to be mean, but they're the Super Bowl champions. There's only so much we can shit on the Eagles. It's not much right now, but Howie actually, I think
we can still shit on them. Okay.
Well, I would like to, but there's not many options right now. We got to give them their flowers. But Howie, I think, broke the all-time record for trades last year, moving around the draft, or the year before. I don't know. I think it was last year. And listen, as much as they only have 8 picks, they have 4 5s. They don't have a 6. They don't have a 7.
We have 20 picks over the next 2 years.
Yeah. I just know that they're going to drop back and then pull back in. I mean, they're going to do something just because I feel like, I just feel gunshot.
I think they're going up.
Who are they going up for?
That'll depend on if anybody drops. I think if one of those defensive linemen, if somebody could fall into, like, say, the early 20s, I think they move up. The reason I say they move up is this. 1, you got 20 picks in the next 2 years. And 2, everybody's trying to trade back. Yeah. So Howie tends to do what everybody else doesn't do. And if he finds that there's value in trading up because everybody's trying to move back, he will do it. So I expect the Eagles to move up. Now, I agree with you. I think the defensive line is going early. I think it's coming off the board. So I think that really when the Eagles are looking to move up, I think that and people disagree with me, but I think the value is going to be in a guy like Malachi Starks.
You don't have to trade up, dude. I just did a draft. He's going to be there at 32, and that's
and I think he's Georgia the guy because that comes in and he goes right in CJ's spot. Boom, start. Yep. And I think that's where the value is going to be. Now, if let's say you're the Giants or one of these teams want to go up and get a quarterback and we stay at 32, well, if the offer is good enough, they might move back. How he's going to play it.
If you're not going running back or quarterback, the 5th-year option isn't that big a deal, right? If it's a quarterback, if it's a running back, you want to run him into the ground to let him go. Don't pay him the 2nd year usually. Yep. Then fine with the 5th-year option, but. Yeah, I had them taking Malachi Starks. Again, when you really look into the draft and what everybody's hunting defensive tackles and defensive ends. Yeah. There's going to be a couple receivers. Exactly. The offensive linemen are horrible this year. All these content creators saying, go get an offensive lineman. There's nobody close to Penei Sewell or, your right tackle, Lane Johnson. There's nobody close to nobody. Yeah. Even Will Campbell is not that great, everybody. So
I agree. I think they would love Walter Nolan, or I think they would love Pierce Jr.
Close to you.
But they're not going to be there. That's what I've been trying to tell people. Yeah. When Myles Garrett made $40+ million, okay, and then you still have Micah's contract has to drop. These teams want to get a pass rusher on a rookie deal. That's why the Giants may go take out Kavon Carter at the end of the day. Because then you got him on a rookie deal instead of paying him $40+ million. I think the edge rushers go off the board really early. So I think safety's the move.
Well, Pizzle, I've been saying, I got kind of shit on because I've always given the Giants more credit because I see their defense. I see, what they have. You put Abdul Carter opposite of Thibodeau now
That's a nightmare.
Do you think? And you got on the inside, you got arguably. I'm not saying he is, but arguably one of the best interior defenders on the inside. Are they really going to trade Thibodeau? I mean,
I
you
don't
got
think
Brian
so.
Burns though. You still got Brian Burns. Maybe you move him. I don't know, right? I mean,
I don't think they would trade. I think at least for this upcoming season, they would have all three. Thibodeau played a lot. Thibodeau actually had several snaps on the inside. I'm not saying he would move inside with Dexter Lawrence, but I think that they would create a package in which it would become interchangeable. I mean, the thing is you need to have those edge rushers, and you need to have them fresh and also healthy. This idea that your two edge rushers are healthy all year long doesn't even really exist anymore. You get guys. Look, this is becoming the NFL schedule is becoming so long and so hard on these players that you're going to have a 1A and 1B at certain positions. I mean, you're seeing it now. Teams are putting emphasis on backup quarterbacks because they're playing so much. I mean, starting quarterbacks aren't even making it throughout the season. So this idea that you would only have two edge rushers on a team, I don't think is right. I think you're going to want 3, potentially 4 edge rushers. And look, I'm not saying that Kavon would have still a future with the Giants, but I mean, you could maybe move on from him, but I don't think instantly this year they would move on from Kavon. I will say this, like that draft they got with Kavon draft, they drafted Kavon and then Evan Neal, who has not panned out at tackle for us. So that was a Joe Shane draft that if they did move on from Kavon, man, they really missed that one up really bad.
Do you like Kavon Thibodeau? Do you like him? Do you think he was?
I have always
worth the pick?
I have always said that if you watch Kavon in college, you were not going to get these big sack numbers. That's just wasn't his game. I knew what they were getting with Kavon. The problem is a lot of football fans who say they're hardcore fans are really just casuals. And so they assume that somebody like, for example, Abdul Carter, they just assume that this guy is going to come in and be 11, 12 sack guy, right? And maybe he is, but some players, some edge rushers are just better playing, stopping the run. They're just better at containment. They're just big. They're just fast. They're not necessarily sack machine guys. Kavon wasn't that in college. And so to me, like, I don't think he's not been a letdown because I expected what I've been given by Kavon. He was gonna have. I knew he was gonna get mad at the Giant fan base for chirping because he was mouthy in college, and I've pretty much got what I expected out of Kavon. I'm not personally done with him. I've been a little bit after the Saquon thing and everything else. I've been kind of a little bit hush hush on saying that players are done because I've kind of learned my lesson on that. But it would be cool to get Carter and have a potential stronghold at the defensive line position because I do think that even as bad as the Giants have been, Dexter Lawrence has been awesome for the Giants. He's been a monster.
Oh, yeah.
And so Dave Gettleman got a lot of shit for being a bad GM, but that was one move in trading for him and acquiring him that was really a right move for him.
Mark, get in here. I mean, we're talking draft today. Jerry Jones rambling on at his pre-draft presser. Then we get rumors that we got 2 trades, big trades on the board. We got other free agents in the building.
Yeah.
What's your thought? Number one on who? I mean, I think I know who we're taking, but like Philly 500 said,
bullshit.
we're all trying. Everybody's trying to bail because the strength of this draft is if you're not in the top 5, let's be honest, the strength is round 2, round 3, round 4.
Basically, after
round
10, 10 to 40, you've got about the same type players.
So it's the perfect year to be drafting 32.
Well,
congrats.
I'm hoping. Here's where I feel like if Genty starts to fall, if Genty gets past New England and the Raiders and starts falling, I think the Cowboys might consider trying to jump up and get him because I think they feel that strongly that seeing Saquon do what he did for the Eagles, that all of a sudden the Cowboys are going to want to get that. I don't necessarily agree with that. I would rather be able to move back, but you have to have somebody who wants to trade with you. Matthew Golden, he's a speedster and things, but I still would like to have that big possession wide receiver. I still need to have a guy who's in the red zone. Now, we heard the rumors today, although I don't think it would happen, is with Denver possibly, Courtland Sutton, there on the last year of his deal, they may be looking and saying, okay, let's dump his salary. They can save, if they trade him, about $6 million for this year and possibly be able to move up. And we're hearing that they want to move up higher. That would not be a bad one if we were exchanging the number 20 pick with the 12 and we end up getting our possession wide receiver. Then we can go out and maybe get Hampton. Maybe he falls deep enough so we get the running back and the wide receiver and still have our second and third pick. I would love a scenario like that. Now, as far as trades go, Jerry Jones is getting us all, juiced up and ready to get something big.
I heard a rumor today. I don't know what you think.
And watch it on the
I heard Jeffrey Simmons.
That wouldn't be bad, but I haven't heard that one.
I had the Pizzle's in Tennessee. I mean, and he's on the trade block, so I've been saying his name for 2 years. That's what Dallas needs. Dallas needs an interior. There's somebody who's not Mozzie Smith.
Can I give you an outside perspective on Dallas?
Go ahead. Yeah. Here we go. Go ahead and shit on us.
All right. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna trash you. I don't need that. I'm just gonna say from like a enemy standpoint, my perspective, your offense has no explosion. It does not scare me. Genty is the guy I do not want Dallas to get because I think he's an immediate impact player. I think the running backs you brought in are mediocre, and I think he would be a huge impact for the Cowboys. I do. I think it would be similar to what Ezekiel Elliott gave you early in his career. Mm-hmm. So I really think, to me, I want him going to the Raiders. I want him off the board before he goes to Dallas. I agree with you 100%.
We can't go into a season where it's just CeeDee Lamb. When you started looking at that.
Talk about what we picked up this offseason. Everybody overlooks all the moves we did.
And that's fine. I would rather people overlook us and not think that we're going to be good, because I don't want to hear this stuff that we got Super Bowl. Name.
But we got some young studs who haven't lived up to expectation, playing with a little bit of hunger. That's a good thing. They're not all going to hit, but I kind of like a lot of what they did. Why keep bringing in these older guys?
Thank you.
And hopefully you can get Hankins and all these guys. Give me a young guy who's fighting for his friggin' life. No, Mark, go ahead.
Well, most of the guys, have been kind of underperforming for where they were drafted and things. And most of them are, of course, on a one-year deal, which means if I'm going to be in the NFL, I've got to perform. When you had Dontari Poe and Hankins and things, those are guys that are like, we've already been there, done that. Let me get this last check before I go out. And you didn't necessarily get the best kind of players. But the Cowboys have been trying to basically go through and plug all the holes that we had. And we have a lot of holes. And I think what they're setting themselves up for is whatever the best player that is falling right there, that's who we're going to take. They ended up getting lucky with getting CeeDee Lamb. Nobody thought CeeDee was going to go there. And had they just taken the best player available, we would have been screwed. And the same thing with Micah Parsons. And when we've gone through and said, let's draft for a need, we get Tyler Guyton and Taco Charlton. And both of those guys, have not panned out. Guyton, maybe there's a chance, but I think they're worried about Guyton actually being good with all of the offensive tackles we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
So can I bring up a point, Brian?
Yeah, get in there. Get in.
So are you guys familiar, and I don't watch it, but are you familiar with the show Landman?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Love
we had our own on there.
Billy Bob.
Okay, so I'm assuming you guys saw the hospital scene with Jerry, right?
Yeah, of course.
He wasn't acting, Pizzle.
Okay. No, let me. I want to. So I did you guys share that on your channels or anything like? Okay.
Cowboy fans.
So
20 videos a day.
Let me say this. I agree with you, Brian. There was no acting in that. That was real passion. That was a real man talking about something that was actually real to him. I think you guys, and with Jerry's age, and obviously it's starting to show, I think you guys are either about to be very dangerous or you're about to go downhill really fast. Yeah, because I think Jerry is about to go all in and get crazy. I really genuinely do, because that man, in that particular scene appeared to me as a dangerous man. Does that make sense?
Nothing to lose.
A man, yes,
He's like a
yes, Mark.
wildcatter.
Yes,
Oil
a man that is got nothing to lose, Mark. And again, I understand that was a fake television show,
No,
but I don't think he was.
That was
he
literally.
No actor,
they said, "Jerry, go be Jerry."
He was talking
Jerry,
about
go be Jerry.
family.
So with the draft coming up, right? This is a chance to make some wild things happen, and I think that you guys this offseason, is it fair to say that you guys have relatively been quiet?
No.
I think in the landscape.
No.
I think look at Philly
No.
in the landscape.
You look at last year. Last year, we were the last team to sign a free agent,
and it was our
punter
like that.
No,
Mark, you're right. Quiet.
I'm saying they've been quiet, Mark, in the term or the sense of the media and the nobody is really you guys get talked about so much during the season that it's rare that here we are in the offseason and nobody's really talked about the Cowboys. It's almost like you guys have been laying in the weeds, not saying nothing with the poker face, waiting to make that big move. And I
think they fell asleep.
No, actually, there's a change that has happened. Okay,
but do you not agree with me, Mark, that I really feel like you guys are laying in the weeds?
Yeah, they are.
And there might be something really big coming here, and it could come this weekend.
It may, but see, I'm going to say that the Cowboys got high on their supply because for 3 years they literally did absolutely nothing in free agency. They did more deconstructing than they did building up. I mean, letting guys like Cedric Wilson and letting go Amari Cooper and stuff, not re-signing Randy Gregory. You did not see the Cowboys do anything that was Eagle-like to build a team. But yet somehow they were always 12-5. And they got to the point where it doesn't matter what we do, we're the Cowboys, and we're going to be in the playoffs. And then this year, all hell broke loose after Jerry Jones saying we're all in. And then I think that they thought that they had Mike McCarthy, who was going to be their little bitch, that he was going to come back and he was going to be the whipping boy. And then as they went around and they're talking to people, that all of a sudden they realize nobody wants this shit sandwich. We are not relevant anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Mark,
now all of a sudden they're trying to do something about it.
Obviously, when you fired McCarthy, there was some noise there. But since that moment, you guys have been super quiet. And I think it's been on purpose. I genuinely do, because I think you guys are looking to make a big splash. And again, I think Jerry is the head of the snake here because he's a desperate man that wants to make something happen. And the fact that you guys haven't really done anything and have been quiet, I think makes you dangerous. Now, could this turn you around in a good way? Yes, but also dangerous in the sense of this could go south for you guys too, right? So it can go either or. But I am, to me, going into this weekend, I have my eyes on the division, on the Cowboys more than any other team in this division. Because obviously the Eagles can only do so much because of where their draft positioning lies, right? I think even Philly 500 would agree with that. They're going to get players, but this is what this league is, right? When you do well, you get put in a position where you're at a disadvantage in the draft, right? Unless you want to actually trade assets. The Cowboys, on the other hand, again, I'm just keeping my eye on them because I'm very interested to see what Jerry Jones, not their coaches, not anybody else, what Jerry Jones does this weekend.
But here's one thing I'm going to let you know, though, is this year at that press conference where Brian Schottenheimer was introduced was the first time you saw the title for Stephen Jones change to co-owner. He used to be executive VP, but now all of a sudden he's co-owner. And I dare say he is running the organization a lot more than he used to. For Jerry Jones not to talk at the Combine, where he's usually on the bus saying stupid shit like we're going all in and everything else, he didn't have a press conference. Until today, you really did not see Jerry Jones being out there. And the Cowboys have been going about business like an NFL team as opposed to being a circus this offseason. Whether or not that works.
That's proven my point, Mark.
Whether or not that works,
I mean, Jerry Jerry makes a lot of noise, right? I mean, that's what he does. He puts himself out there.
Mm-hmm.
He puts him. And look, I've said 100 times now that I shouldn't knock Jerry Jones, because honestly, if I was Jerry Jones, I'd probably be exactly like he is as an owner. I think all of us would be. Mm-hmm. All of us supposedly love our team so much, just like Jerry loves the Cowboys. All of us would want to make decisions. All of us would want to say. All of us would put ourselves out there, because obviously we put ourselves out there here on YouTube, right? So I think we would all be Jerry Jones if that was the case. Billy, go ahead, Bill. I know you're going to say something.
I know. I have a question for you. I'm just curious. What, like, you say you're watching him, and I kind of agree with you. Like, keep an eye on him, but. Like, what kind of move are you expecting? Something to immediately get them better now, or something like trading for Shedeur Sanders?
Okay, I think
something like that.
I'm not saying Shedeur. No, I'm not saying that. But you brought up Gentry, right? You brought up him, and I agree.
Yeah, I think that's the guy.
That's dangerous, right? That's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
If you give Dak a legitimate running game, then and a guy that's very good. Jerry Jones, to me, and again, going back to Mark saying co-owner Steven, I think he understands that he is on the very end of the back nine here, right? I don't wish any man to go, to head to the grave anytime soon, right? But Jerry understands his age. He's a smart man. He's been a smart man for many years. He obviously has made a ton of cash, so he's got to be somewhat smart. The reality here is Jerry knows that he is running on borrowed time in some sense. So why would he not sell the farm and go get a guy like that? Why would he? To me, it's someone's told him, "Hey, listen, Jerry, just shut the hell up." Right? We don't need you. We don't need you ruining our draft plans for potentially a huge splash. So what I'm saying is, Philly, is maybe the Cowboys don't do nothing, right? Maybe they stay and they say, you know what, we're just gonna keep doing what we're doing and just keep rowing the boat. Or what if on draft Thursday night, all of a sudden, here comes the Cowboys moving up, and they just sold the farm to go get so and so. Because Jerry is desperate and he's been waiting to make this move, and now he's going to go out and get his last great guy.
They did say that they are hot on Hunter.
I agree.
They're hot on what now? What'd you say, Brian?
Travis Hunter, but
everybody is.
I know,
dude,
but
you need Genty. I'm telling you, that's the pick for
I don't
Cowboys,
even know
man.
that. I mean, I love
that's
Genty.
the pick.
I made a mock a couple of weeks ago, and people laughed at me. Now all of a sudden, yesterday, he's rumored to be going number 5, Genty. I'm like, yeah, I said that 2 weeks ago because. And all of a sudden,
I like the
on the trade back. So, the Jags are looking at Genty right now, and that's going to kill.
Would there be any chance? And to bring up the point of Prime being an NFL coach, would there be any reason why you guys, in particular, would draft Shiloh late in the draft?
Yeah, we got 3 7s, right, Mark? Well, I don't care. He plays.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if he's on the Cowboys,
well, let's be honest, Pizzle. We got a coach who I like.
I'm not saying he's bad.
Pedigree, but as far as Schottenheimer, but he's unproven. It could go like you said it. You guys are saying it right. Everybody that's underselling the Cowboys, okay, good. I like it, right, Mark? We like it.
Yeah.
We could be back to winning. We have a tough schedule, maybe 10, 11, and in the playoffs, or we could have 4 or 5, and it's gonna in large part. It's going to be part of what happens over the next month from today. Like, I think Pizzle's right. I think that they are about to do something. They're rumoring 2 trades, and they're not talking small trades. What are those trades? Is that like Tyreek Hill, or is that? I mean, I don't know. I don't want Tyreek Hill, but I'm just saying there is something on the horizon. I don't believe they're moving up, Pizzle. I will tell you that.
Well, I just feel like, and going back to Philly,
going
back to Philly 500 and his Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman's name is out there for being great, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're a general manager and Howie Roseman calls you, you second guess, like, wait a minute, this guy's clearly smart. I don't know if he's about to fleece me. So maybe I don't do a deal with him. But Jerry, on the other hand, gets talked about how bad he is, right? And Jerry calls you and says, hey, I'm off. And then all of a sudden, Cowboys are jumping on that.
Yeah, well, this goes back to last season, Philly, when Jerry Jones, he likes to walk the red carpet on the field. Mm-hmm. He likes to talk his shit, right?
And he got his fingers and everything.
He was getting punked out. He didn't even know he was getting punked at the link. They were laughing. Eagle fans were cheering. They were saying, "Thank you. Keep up the great work, Jerry." And he didn't.
Yeah. He didn't realize that they were
know
punking
what was going on, but he did when he went back to the Star. And they went and told him, "See, no, Jerry, they're laughing at you. They're laughing at you because." This is what you've won 3 playoff or maybe 4 playoff games since their last Super Bowl. You know, they're laughing at you because you're more worried about selling T-shirts and jerseys than putting a winner in the playoff. And we can argue about whose fault and how we got there. And I think Jerry's tired of hearing the bullshit. So, but I wanted to bring up just a quick rumor, and it's not really a rumor. It's not going to come to fruition. I'm just going to say because he's going to be gone. But there was a serious rumor, and I know a lot of Eagle fans hate this, but the Eagles were in talks to move up to number 4 with New England. Now, I know Philly, if I know Philly, he would hate it. But AJ Brown,
I don't. Yeah,
it was real, but I don't think they would ultimately pull the trigger because of the fan reaction.
I don't do.
Anyway, go ahead. It was the Eagles that jumped to number 4. Eagles would get Abdul Carter, but in doing so, they would have to give up AJ Brown and more.
Yeah. So that's a lot to
and
to
the
move
32nd.
Right.
To move 32nd to 4. Oh, no way. That would cost you. Hell no.
This whole AJ Brown. The whole AJ Brown. Oh yeah, I like Abdul Carter too, but
I'm just saying.
AJ Brown just signed a contract. He's there till 2029 through 2029.
We're trying to trade every one of our players you just signed, and that's why I was.
But I mean,
breaking the balls
you couldn't do it.
Filio.
Yeah, you couldn't do it because of the cap, right? The cap number would be too hard to do.
That's what I told you when you were saying Dallas is going to. I forget who it was when you were
right. But it was Dak. It was Dak Prescott.
It's not going to happen this year. It can't physically happen.
No, but I got to bust the balls.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
Yeah, you know I'm doing. You know what I'm doing.
But
you know where I'm from. I got to do it. But the AJ Brown thing, it drives me nuts because the Eagles aren't going to do that. A couple days before that, we had a rumor that the Eagles were going to trade Devontae Smith for Jalen Ramsey. Now, why on earth would the Eagles trade for Jalen Ramsey when they don't even Ramsey don't even like Vic Fangio? He was one of the guys that ran them out of Miami. I mean,
people don't look at the.
To me, I'll tell you this: I straight up, if the Eagles made that trade, then I'm going to come on here and tell you the NFL's fixed because the Eagles would single-handedly have just destroyed one of the better Super Bowl teams I've seen in a long time. This comes after the NBA has Doncic go to the Lakers, right? And you can't tell me that was not the most fixed thing ever. So I just would have no faith in the sport anymore, something like that. That's how ridiculous I think it is that would happen.
To get there, remember, when you guys moved up for Carson Wentz, you traded with first, was it Tampa? To get to like Tampa's 13th, and then you traded with,
I don't remember who it was.
But you did 2 trades to get up there.
Two trades.
Yeah, you traded first with Tampa to get to like 12
and
or 13.
And then we traded with Miami. We traded with Miami.
Right. The amount of capital it would take to get from 30 seconds. I mean, San Francisco gave up 2 number 1s and a 3 to go from 12 to 3 to get Trey Lance, which they should have done.
What do the Patriots want with AJ Brown? They're not anywhere close winning a Super Bowl right now. They need talent. They should be drafting Abdul Carter.
Well, it's the Vrabel connection.
I know it's the connection of Vrabel, and he was a Patriots fan. He was a Tom Brady fan growing up. Yeah. I get it, but it ain't happening.
It's not going to happen because Abdul Carter's not going to be there. Number 1, number 2.
No, I mean, look, I love Eagle fans love Abdul Carter because he's an Eagle fan. He's an Eagle fan growing up, so they love him, but he's not going to be there, And hopefully he doesn't go to. I don't care if he goes to the Giants. Giants don't scare me. Sorry, Pizzle, but you could stack all the first round picks at your edge. It don't matter. Say hi to Russell Wilson. Let me send him a new Walker. Old bastard.
Damn, talking cash trash tonight. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, I hate it for. I mean, what do you want me to say? I hate it.
I know, and listen, I don't bring you on here because of that. We know. Listen, the bottom line is, and this just goes into last year. Dallas had before last year had won 3 straight 12-win seasons, but at the end of the day, we got to the point where it's about playoffs, right? It was always about playoffs.
Well, this is an interesting thing I want to bring up here because I think you and Mark may have slightly different views as Cowboy fans on your quarterback and him, winning the big games. I'm curious, your take, Brian, on Dak Prescott and all these 12-win seasons and yet not being able to win when it matters the most.
Yeah, you know my opinion. Mark and I have got into many battles regarding Dak. I root for Dak Prescott. I think there would be no better story than for him to finish his story to my wrestling fans out there. But injury after injury, I am concerned for Dak. Now, I mean, he looks good, but I don't know, guys. You guys are more historians than I am, probably. Who was the last guy that was going into year 10 that had gotten to a Super Bowl for the first time? Has there been a quarterback? Maybe Doug Williams? I don't know. I mean, how many quarterbacks have been with one team?
Manning?
Who?
How old was Peyton Manning when he finally got his?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but that was multiple.
Elway got one late in his career.
Yeah,
Elway got 2 late in his career.
Yeah,
they changed the way they played football too. They
got a running back,
Davis, and they
got a running back.
Yeah, zone blocking and all that. So
that's the case to move up for Gentry then.
To get to your point, obviously,
that's what I'm worried about.
More critical than Mark. Mark, I didn't know this until he told me. He basically started his channel around Dak Prescott. So Mark has a special.
No. Here's my thing. You know what? Game time. Shut up, man. Here's the thing. I'll tell you what. If we had a situation like, say, the Eagles with a loaded roster where
your own son said that he's had it with him.
My son's an idiot.
Okay.
All right. He said, "Put Cooper Rush in." Put Cooper Rush in. Okay. Come on. No. Here's the only thing I say is I would love to see Dak Prescott in a situation like Jay.
He's had that.
And has the best running back in football and a bunch of goons for a defense. No, he has not had that situation. He has not had 2 good receivers and the best running back in football.
You can't win a playoff game.
And the best
You can't win a playoff game even at home.
Oh, God. Okay.
You know what my issue is? Why the hell are we, Mark, and this goes to you, and I can hear Pizzle. I want to hear an outside opinion of why. But why? I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask Mark. Why did we pay Dak Prescott $16 million and then we're not
do nothing to work with him?
What's that?
And then do nothing to help him.
Well, I'm not going to go that they've done nothing. He's had, I would say, 2 teams that were good enough. But I'm talking about right now where we stand now. Why are we paying a guy $60 million if we're going to let people go and now all of a sudden have a youth movement, but we don't want to lose? Is it because they don't want to have the post-Aikman, the Quincy Carter, Clint Sterner, Chad Hutchinson, all the dreck of quarterbacks that we had until we got lucky with Tony Romo, an undrafted free agent, right?
I don't know how, when you see...
Why did we pay him that if we're not going to do with
why?
And go all in?
You know why? Because Dak Prescott is the gift that keeps on giving. Because he keeps you relevant. If he stays healthy enough, he's going to get you a few wins. And they will constantly talk about him. Because here you can go ahead and talk about how great the Eagles are. They won 2 Super Bowls and been to 3 since 2017. Yet you can look at Kansas City that could have gotten a 3-peat. You looked at a historically great franchise with what New England did. And guess what? Dallas Cowboys is talked about more than all of them combined. And the reason is it's controversy. So when you want to talk about winning, in Jerry Jones's mind, being talked about in the same way I'm getting cussed out and laughed at in Philadelphia, he feeds on that shit.
Well, yeah. I would rather.
I would think winning would be better.
Yeah, I know. It's just I still don't understand. Pizzle, why do you think we paid Dak $60 million? Why? Why did we pay Dak $60 million?
Because Jerry Jones, who is a probably prideful man, wants to be right. I mean, I look, I will say this, like Philly 500's making fun of me because I got Russell Wilson at quarterback this year. Okay. And and I love a good trash talk. So I welcome that, that conversation. The Giants, whether I liked it or not, had to make a tough decision to just restart it. Right. That's a tough pill to swallow and move on from that. The Cowboys eventually have to swallow that pill, whether they like it or not. Okay. I think in the end, whether Dak Prescott is good or not, or gives the Cowboy fans what they want, it all comes down to Jerry Jones wanting to be right about Dak Prescott and wanting to justify the contract that he gave him. It all comes down to one man. I mean, your whole life, both you and Mark, are dictated by Jerry Jones. That's reality. That's facts.
And 500. I want your opinion. Why do we pay him $60 million if we're gonna not attack it? Like Pistol said. I mean, I don't have a problem, right? We're always saying how great we are at drafting, and I understand we've had some mistakes, but all in all, we're one of the better teams in drafting. Here's the worst thing that can happen, Philly 500. This is the worst thing that can happen. You move on from. I mean, you move on from Dak Prescott, right? Or you go all in with Dak. Go out and you give your picks up. Go out and get all the studs. Go out and get Tyreek Hill. Go out and get Jeffrey Simmons. You could do it. And go all in. And you either win a Super Bowl to shut people up and to reset and go, okay, we got one that hasn't been 30 years, because that weight just mounts on your shoulders and it gets heavier and heavier, and poor Dak. But if it's true, it's a lot of weight on one man's shoulders. Instead of doing that, they nickel and dime and try and hit home runs in the draft. And normally, they're doing 1-year cheap deals in free agency. Just go all in, because if it fails, you're going to get a top 5 pick. And that's the only way you could truly get a next quarterback stud and an Arch Manning. But why do you think they paid him $60 million? Philly? Why?
I think if I had to guess, I would say it's because they're scared that if they let him go and he went somewhere else, how it's going to make them look. I think
see that.
I think Jerry's always. I mean, imagine if Dak goes to, I don't know, the Raiders and they win a Super Bowl. What's he going to say? But the problem is Dak. Dak is a great regular season quarterback. He puts up big numbers and stuff like that. But when he gets to the playoffs, he has come up really, really small. And I will agree that in recent years, they don't
stop for
do
a
enough.
second.
No, listen,
I'm sick of this shit.
Let me say
because I can't think of one person when we get into the playoffs that we look and say, if it wasn't for the quarterback, because everybody else played great, we had a great running game, we had an offensive line. We get defensive ends that are literally tacking offensive linemen and getting 15-yard penalties.
You've won 12 games, 4 years in a row?
3 years.
12 games.
3 years.
Okay, 3 years in a row. You have been a 1 seed with Dak. You have been a 2 seed. You can't even get out of the first round of the playoffs. We're not talking about him losing Super Bowls or NFC championship games. He can't get, and you're going to tell me every single time they win 12 games, it's because Dak Prescott. Every time we got to hear the Dak Prescott 9-3 record against the Eagles. But when he gets to the playoffs, it's not Dak's fault. At some point, it's Dak's fault, Mark.
Bro, they have actually overperformed getting to the playoffs. When you look, hold on. Okay, here's the difference between the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. You go through, even right now after winning the Super Bowl, you look and say, how can we go ahead and help ourselves? Let's go ahead and get these deals done. Let's get some more money. Let's go ahead and make these deals that are team friendly. The Cowboys, they wait till the end of the whole offseason here. Okay, we go through training camp. We pay CeeDee Lamb $5 million more than we need to. And instead of being able to go out and get somebody else out there, what do we say? CeeDee Lamb, after breaking all the Cowboys wide receiver records for over 60 years, he had 10 touches a game, and we say, well, he's going to need to get like 13 to 15 touches. You can't win saying, we just paid a guy, so now we want more out of him. You literally paid Dak and says, well, Dak's got to understand he's going to have to win with less. How the fuck are you going to win with less? Nobody wins with less. The Eagles have proven that. You've got to get talent on the field on both sides of the freaking ball. We don't do that.
Act like they never gave him nothing.
Oh
he had great offenses. There were years
look at some of the people. We take your trash, bro. Miles Sanders.
This is the crazy.
We take Jason Peters, who's 40 freaking years old. Come on, bro.
Win. This is why you don't win, Brian. You can't even hold your quarterback responsible for losing. Look, I'm not saying everything's on Dak. That's not the way it goes. But you cannot ignore that he does not play good in big games.
I will say the whole
and
team.
if he was an Eagle quarterback, if he was in New York, he would be getting killed and held responsible. Dallas, they just sweep it under the rug. You know what I like?
Not in Dallas, they don't.
Oh, Dallas.
In Dallas,
Dak Prescott's got a 9.
Bullshit.
Dallas make excuses. 9-3 record against the Eagles. 9-3 record against the Eagles.
Haters,
but he doesn't win nothing.
Dallas fans.
The Cowboys haven't won nothing in 30 years.
The year he was a 1 seed. And you couldn't win at home.
Tony Romo was a 1 seed too.
He couldn't win at home. Tony Romo's a choker. Tony Romo and Dak are the same guy.
Okay.
It's the same guy.
All right, if you say so. Momo, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine.
This is why Dallas deserves to lose.
I get it.
This is why.
About Dak Prescott.
Let me introduce Momo first.
Okay.
Keep signing Dak to a new contract. Give him another 5 years.
Okay. The
First
reason
thing
why,
first, let me introduce you. Zip it. Let me introduce you. We were going to have Louis T on. Louis T, he couldn't make Tuesday. So I didn't want to move everybody else. So I said, we're just going to go without a Washington Commander voice. But then I realized we had a voice, right, Mark? We had a channel member, Momo, with some interesting takes. So he's my channel member. I believe he's Mark's channel member. Momo, you're here representing the Washington.
What's up, Momo?
Yeah, hey, what's up? What's up, everybody?
So Momo, there you go. There's your introduction.
Okay, let me explain my take on Dak Prescott. Mark, refrain. I'm about to say something, and you might not like it. The reason the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones and company gave him that big-ass contract because they had to. Because there was nobody behind him threatening him. So they were stuck in the hard place. Jerry didn't want to pay him that money. Jerry had no choice to pay him that money. In the press conference, what did Jerry say? You heard what he said. So that's why. That's the same reason Joe Flacco got that big contract from the Ravens in the Super Bowl. They had no other choice to pay him that money. That's the problem with the league today. There's nobody challenging the backups.
Well,
the starters. So you got weak B players, quarterbacks that the starter. Nobody wants to be challenged and for nothing anymore. Well, that's go for wide receivers and quarterbacks. Who was your backup?
Two of his last 4 years. Two of his last 4 years, he had 36 and 37 TD passes.
I know. I'm not what I'm
it's
saying.
Not like this is not like he's Jameis Winston now.
I'm just saying, Mark. I'm just saying that they had no choice to pay him the money. Jerry did not want to pay him that money. You know that. Jerry even said it.
Not only did you pay him, you gave him a no trade clause.
Yeah. He literally had a gun to his head.
It's like baffling to me.
Let me say this. And I can't, Mark. I can't believe I'm literally going to be on your side on this. Wow. I can't believe I'm going to take your side on this.
The guy who loves Daniel Jones.
This is a guy who's got no quarterback.
This is nuts. I can't believe I'm going to do this. I can't believe I'm going to do this, Mark. Who the hell? And I'm not talking about next year. I'm talking about last year. Who the hell did Dak Prescott have to throw to?
Thank you. That's what I keep trying to say.
What weapons?
It was CeeDee Lamb and no running game.
I'm saying, what weapons did Dak have last year? Y'all had CeeDee Lamb, and that was it. Y'all are so thirsty and so offensive, just lacking in talent.
Thank you.
Honestly, I hate to say this, but
I agree.
Who the hell is Dak even got to throw the damn ball to?
And to tee off, oh my God, I can't believe. Hold, wait. Let me finish him off real quick because we can go to the year before.
Tag in, Mark.
I'm sorry.
He said finish him off.
To finish off what he's saying, but just
Mark
go back to the
right now. Come on, Mark.
No, but go back to the year before where CeeDee Lamb gets over 1,700 yards. The next guy we have is Brandon Cooks with 600.
Old man.
Okay? And we ended up having Tony Pollard as the be-all, end-all, who barely limped into 1,000 yards. We still didn't have any weapons that year, and we had an offensive line, although Tyron Smith, the last good year that he played, was that year the offensive line was better, but we still didn't have shit with Dak on there.
But you still couldn't get out of the – you still couldn't get wild first round playoffs.
Let me say something about Dak real quick. I just wish people face the facts. And today's NFL, if you ain't throwing at least 300 yards a game, you're not very good. If you ain't catching 10 to 15 balls on average over 150 yards plus a game, because in the NFL you can't do nothing to the quarterback and do nothing to the wide receiver. So this NFL today, the yards are there. It doesn't matter who was playing. You can have an average and below average wide receivers and quarterbacks that does that. So I don't know why everybody wants to say that he didn't have no wide receivers.
Well, no, the first 4 or 5 years in the league, he did. Okay,
no
he had 37 touchdowns in 1 year. He had that
was 2021.
You had Cooper. You had CD was all rookie. You had Cedric Wilson.
We had
he goes out. He does 37 touchdowns.
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. We literally going to say Cedric Wilson is a stud. The one good year Cedric Wilson had, the best year. Hold on. He can't even get on the field anymore, bro. He had one decent year, and that was because of freaking Dak Prescott. 600 yards.
He did. Hey, Mark. Okay. So Dak is so good.
Dak has made those guys.
Gave Cedric Wilson a career year, right? That's what you're saying.
Yes, he did.
But he can't win a home playoff game.
Okay. The bones that you have that you're limping across the line here, when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys literally had the worst separation in football the last 2 years.
Championship game.
No, he hasn't.
Oh my God.
Now, I got a question for you, Mark. Did Jerry really want Dak Prescott be his starting quarterback today? Just be honest with yourself.
The proof's in the money.
I would say
that kind
yes,
of money.
because looking at what's out there ain't nobody else out there right now.
No, I'm just asking you a question because remember, he's the one who wanted Tony Romo to come out the booth and say and want him to come back.
He did not. He did not ask Tony Romo to come out the booth. Oh, you're full of shit, man.
You know that's true.
He did.
I love that.
That is. No.
Yes, he did.
No, he did.
He's right.
He did not ask Tony Romo to come out of the booth.
Will have your back.
Are you kidding me?
You in the back right now.
Now you just making shit up. You know what?
Keep it real.
See, look, Commanders fans can't have nothing nice. They get one good season. Now all of a sudden they think they're the freaking Eagles.
And you think I'm the bad guy, Mark.
Momo,
you think I'm the bad guy.
Momo, take your ass. Okay, look, Momo up here showing off his ass. He's got to leave now. Look, you see that?
Stay.
Oh, I just got him on blind. Oh, wait, showing his ass.
I'll be right back.
I got to leave right now. See how them Commander fans are? Oh, there's no rivalry. We're superior. Man, get out of here with that shit, man.
Momo, tell him what you think about the Eagles, Momo. Since Philly runs
I'm going to tell you, Philly? Now you're going to see it. You're going to see it. They're all going to be in third place. Cowboys going to be in second. What's going to be first? The reason Philly going to go down because that running game ain't going to be the same.
Oh, shit.
People going to figure y'all out, and that running game.
It's brilliant.
I believe that Barkley is going to have maybe 1,100 yards, close to 12.
Now
that's going to be that's going to be an average season because there's too many games in the NFL today. So guess who got to throw the ball more? Jalen Hurts.
I would love that, and I think he can do
it. That's you really want Jalen Hurts to throw the ball? He won't be a turnover machine. I guarantee.
Why would he be a turnover machine? No, see, you just said it earlier. You said this is a passing league. Everybody cares about the passing numbers, how many yards.
But Jalen Hurts ain't but
Jalen Hurts don't play like that. Jalen Hurts, what does he do? He plays the same way all year. You go to the playoffs.
He might be out for about 4 or 5 games.
How many turnovers did he have in the Super Bowl? How many turnovers did he have in this? Okay, well, I mean, we're talking about the Super Bowl. His 2 best games of his career were in the Super Bowl. How many come from behind games has the guy won? I mean, we can say, well, he doesn't have this passing number. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. Dak puts up the passing numbers. Hurts wins games. They're two different things.
His
you look
team
at
wins
Justin
games,
Herbert, right?
bro.
3 interceptions all year. Oh, Justin Herbert, 3 interceptions, goes into a playoff game, throws 5. The difference between Jalen Hurts and all these other guys is Hurts plays playoff football all year long.
Okay.
And everybody gets to the playoffs and plays more like Hurts.
But here's the thing, Philly.
And that's the truth.
Philly,
you had the best offensive line,
you're
you
fan,
got the best running back.
I get it. But end of the day, y'all just prepare yourself. Watch that TV
really
and say all my butt and all the other stuff you say on your podcast. Y'all gonna be in 3rd place this year.
3rd place. I'll take that. I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet any day of the week. This team, look, I agree with you in one aspect. I do agree with you. Barkley had a lot of carries. You can't expect him to go out and get 2,000 yards again. That's not going to happen.
What's that? Yeah, I mean, what's that?
I don't think it does happen. I mean, that would be. Like it's never happened before.
Right. That's what I mean.
It's never happened before. No runner has ever had 2,000 yards twice in a year. That would be unprecedented. That would really drive Pizzle even crazier. But I don't think to say Barkley's done. Like I think Barkley's got a good 2-3 years left. I mean, I'm expecting 1,400 yards from him, 1,500 yards.
No, there's no way he's getting that kind.
Well, you're only talking a difference of 300 yards. You said 1,100. I'm saying 1,500.
I say 1,100. 1,100 is an average.
But here's the thing: the Eagles, what I think they've done with the running back they drafted last year, with bringing in A.J. Dillon, if he could stay healthy, and their plan is that you're going to see a running back by committee. They're going to draft another running back. And so I think some of the load's going to come off Barkley in that way. But I also think that it's still, he's so dynamic and he's so scary to the opposing defenses. That opens up the passing game. You're not talking about, the Dallas Cowboy wide receivers. You're talking about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. This offense is going to be able to move the ball. They're going to be able to score points. And I don't see that changing. Now, I agree. Barkley's not going to have 2,000 yards, maybe. Well, it's never been done before.
But my Washington team, everybody want to say, they got tape. F the tape, because he's going to be fine. He's going to have some things where he might get more interceptions than he got last year. But end of the day, he's going to be fine. Like that. They're going to win at least 11 games next season. And Cowboys going to end up winning 10, and Philly going to win 8. That's how I think.
I think Eagles 1. I think that Washington 2. Dallas probably, it's going to be close between them and Giants 3.
I'm not here to.
But I'll say this: you guys made a mistake, a big mistake, in my opinion, in the offseason. I really, you went out and you got Deebo Samuel, right? And I think you missed out. You needed DK Metcalf. That was the move that would have scared me with Washington. You get Metcalf with McLaurin. That's scary. So Deebo Samuel as a receiver does not scare me.
Okay, but we don't know what the draft
on the Commanders.
Yeah, that's true. I'm only talking about where we're at today.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Pizzle's opinion on the Commanders.
Okay, here's my thing with the Commanders. In the draft, we need a lot of defensive tackles, defensive ends. We need some corner because our defense sucked. They sucked. Philly put a 55 burger. Everybody keeps reminding me, and Game Time and everybody and all these podcasters wanted to jump down my throat about it. I don't care. That's past.
What's that? What are we
because end of the day, Game Time and everybody
gave up 50 points to the Eagles.
55.
Yes. But yes, in the past, Washington always split against the Eagles. It's been a long time since the Eagles beat us twice in the season. I'm going to go to Pizzle
in a minute, but here, Momo, here's the problem with the Commanders, in my humble opinion. You cannot free agent yourself to death. I'm looking at their draft picks. You don't have any. You got 5 draft picks in this draft.
Right. That's all we got.
5. That's it. Okay.
That's right.
You went out in free agency. Okay. I liked Frankie Louisville. I liked him. I think you possibly could go the other way. Everybody's, is sniffing, the Commanders. I believe they're not as good as you think. That's just my opinion. You have to be able to draft well. Just real quick, the reason why Dallas has fell off, in my opinion, even though they won 12 games, they weren't that good, is because they stopped drafting well. and they got the injury bug. So you lost your depth, your draft picks, you hit on a couple, but Pizzle, what's your opinion of the Commanders? Because I don't think they're going to be as good.
I think that I need to see the Commanders again this season to prove that last season wasn't a fluke. Jaden Daniels, the term the sophomore slump is a real thing. Everyone came into this past season saying how great C.J. Stroud was, and I would say C.J. Stroud was not up to people's to what everyone said he was going to be. The Texans were never true Super Bowl contenders, and everybody loves Jaden Daniels all of a sudden. Oh, he's fantastic.
He's amazing.
He's the new kid. Yeah, he's the new hot item. And I think the reality is that he's going to struggle because now you're going to have defensive coordinators in the league that has an offseason of tape on him in the National Football League, and he's going to have to overcome, he could hit the fastball. Now, can you hit the curveball? So I mean, that's what I see. That's what I see. The Washington. I think they're going to not catch anybody off guard. I think they caught some teams off guard last year, and I don't think they're going to sneak up on anybody this year.
I don't think they snuck up on anybody, to be quite frank with you.
I actually did. I think they did.
How they sneak up on somebody?
Well, nobody. First of all, nobody believed in Dan Quinn. Mm-hmm. And I never said anything bad about Dan Quinn because Dan Quinn took the Atlanta Falcons to the Super Bowl. But nobody legitimately thought that Dan Quinn was a great hire. He's not a sexy hire by any means, like a lot of
first choice. Their first choice stayed in Detroit and now is in Chicago.
Exactly, like the guy from Detroit,
whatever his name
Johnson. He's a hot ticket item, right? Mm-hmm. Names like that go around the league all the time. There's always somebody that comes up and it's the hot man. Well, Dan Quinn was not on that list of sexy picks, right? Jaden Daniels obviously was drafted high, but everyone thought that he is a rookie, he could struggle. The reality was there was no tape on him. They turned over the roster tremendously last offseason. And Dan Quinn is a good coach, and they're not going to sneak up on anybody this year. What I'm saying is there's going to be more respect that when teams see Washington Commanders on the schedule. It's just simple as that.
Okay. Can I comment on what you just said?
Sure.
Okay. Here's my take on it. Washington last year, they didn't sneak up on nobody because they was behind a lot of these games, and they made a lot of comebacks to win games. So the tape they keep saying is BS because did they have tape on these the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the game? No. Yeah. But that doesn't mean you can stop them. So I believe that because he had a lot of his X factor is too much. Not only can he run and throw the ball, he can see the field well. He has a great deep ball. He knows he pick and choose. He makes great decisions when he's throwing the ball.
Momo, would you not also agree in saying that there was a couple of games there that, wow, they really had no business winning that game, and somehow
the Hail Marys, they hadn't won that game.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Mo. Is like the National Football League. All of a sudden, it's an inches game. All of a sudden, you don't win that game this next season. So, I think some of what the Washington Commanders just experienced was the lack of knowledge from other teams on personnel. Right. Was the fact that Dan Quinn actually is a good coach, but wasn't getting any respect, and the fact that you got a little lucky. And I think that's fair to say on all three of those things. There's always luck
in football.
Absolutely. And I would argue that there's certain teams out there that just haven't been getting a lot of luck lately. I know one, but okay. I mean,
I would just like to say something about the Hail Mary. Washington blew that game against the Chicago Bears. They was winning the game, and they allowed them to come back. Because the defense gave up. The defense gave up those touchdowns, those runs. So they threw a Hail Mary. Actually, Washington should never been in position for the Hail Mary.
Mark Holmes, were we not 2 minutes away? Shout out Randy McIntyre. Weren't we not Washington? 2 minutes away of sweeping the Commanders? And it's
with Cooper Rush. Put Cooper Rush in the game. Put Cooper Rush in the game.
Fucking Cooper Rush.
Okay, yeah.
That was always in the playoffs.
The thing that kills me is how you just got yourself up on this pedestal.
Mark don't want to talk about playoffs.
Oh, Lordy.
We got well. I will say
think it's
this: they
past my
got in,
bedtime now.
and then
Jeez.
they won, so it's good. But I mean, the ultimate prize is to win a Super Bowl, is it not? I think Pizzle agrees with me. I remember.
But and by the way, on Washington, and by the way, on Washington, because I know the draft is this weekend. Out of the 4 teams in this division, the one that will come away looking the worst, because there won't be really any draft news, is Washington. By the way,
Yeah.
I think the Giant fans, whoever we get, will like who we like. Cowboy fans, y'all will, and Eagles, even with them drafting late, they will probably like. Washington's going to come away with this like, well, we just we were kind of there, whatever. We were. So my point being is
cap room, right? They had
that's what I'm saying. Washington, when they do the silly draft grades, I don't think Washington's going to grade well this weekend. But that's only because they're not in impactful positions. That's it.
I mean, and I agree. I don't know who said it. I think it was Philly. Again, I would say maybe 2 years ago I liked Debo, but Debo was fell off the.
I think I'd be very surprised.
You went and traded for a Laramie Tunsil who led the league in penalties for the offensive lineman. Laramie Tunsil was a below average player.
Are we talking about holding game time?
Dude, I'm just saying, everybody likes to throw up how bad our positions are. Laramie Tunsil was considering retirement, right?
Right.
To me, if you're considering retirement, you're friggin' retired. You know,
right? I grant you that.
So
but here's the thing about holding in the NFL. Everybody holds the NFL. It's the referee want to throw penalties on you, and you come a target. Well, it's holding on every down.
I hear what you're saying, but he was a shell of him. All I'm saying is, I get back to my original thing. There's no surprise why the Eagles have vaulted into being a juggernaut. Why?
Right.
Because they've drafted well, and their draft picks are on the field playing. Okay,
yes, and they've taken advantage. They've taken advantage of a poor division. I'm sorry, it's
reality. You go out of Saquon, and then you take advantage of a poor division. Dallas is faltering, right, Mark? Because we haven't necessarily drafted the best. We still have all pros. It ain't like we're hitting over. We're hitting probably about 220 clip, and that's not bad, but it's not what we used to do. Eagles are hitting home runs right now. Everything they're doing, they're hitting extra base hits. I mean, they're hitting your triples and doubles. I mean, it is what it is. You take your hat off to you. We got to do a better job drafting. Giants have drafted bad on the offensive line. I don't think that anybody knew Evan Neal wasn't going to be great. It's just the way it worked out.
Probably be great on another team.
Yeah, but I do believe the Giants.
If he had only been an Eagle,
the Giants should draft a quarterback. If Dot is available, they should take him.
Yeah, I agree, Mo. Thank you for saying something smart.
Yeah,
I'll tell you this: if the Cowboys draft Genty, they'll finish above Washington. That's how much of an impact I think that pick would make for the Cowboys.
How about Hampton?
I do.
Yeah,
he's all right. I like Henderson. Ohio State.
I think Genty's the guy, though.
Yes, but they're not getting
game time. Remember, we had the conversation about Shador. I say he's going to be the 23rd pick because I think he's going down.
Like a fly right now. He's dropping.
Who was the 23rd pick? Who's the 23rd pick?
Why is he dropping so much?
Because his arm talent.
Why 23rd pick? What was the why 23rd?
Yeah, why 23?
Because I don't think the teams on
23rd.
They don't. I don't think they want that drama with his daddy.
No, I understand that, but what team are you thinking that he's going to go to?
I forget whoever the 23rd pick is. I think he's going to drop.
Are you talking about 21 to Steelers? I
want Dallas to take him.
I think he fits. I think he fits Pittsburgh.
I want the
No.
Oh, that would be so great if he went to the Cowboys and then they signed Deion as the head coach.
I already told everybody, Momo. I already told everybody, Momo, that the Giants are going to trade back into the first round with the Steelers. The Steelers like a quarterback out of Ohio State, but you don't need to take him at 21. I think Will Howard may be the best quarterback in this draft. That's just my humble opinion.
Really?
I love Will.
I like Dart.
Wow.
I like Dart.
Will Howard.
Wow.
Can I ask you a question?
I mean, he killed it.
Ask me this.
He killed it. What? Yeah, go ahead. You don't have to ask, baby. Why you're here?
The quarterback from Texas.
Yeah, Quinn Ewers.
Why is he high on everybody's draft board?
He's not higher than anybody's list. He's going to be a third round at best. Everybody forgets he was a #1 recruit coming out of high school. Quinn Ewers is a very high talent. Sometimes it don't work out in college. I don't know.
Could Shador fall out of the first?
No.
I think it's possible.
He could.
I think it's possible.
See, I would love to be in a position where he's still on the board and the Eagles are sitting at 32, because somebody wants to get up and get a quarterback, and they'll overpay for a quarterback. At that point, I would consider moving out of the first round altogether if I was the Eagles.
Who needs a quarterback the first 10 picks? Doesn't Cleveland need one?
Cleveland definitely needs one.
Giants,
Tennessee, Steelers.
Willie Vassar makes a statement. He goes, "Do you think the Niners and the Lions, if they were healthy, would Philly have gotten to a Super Bowl?" I kind of think so at this point.
The Eagles were beating Detroit. They were going to go in there and beat Detroit.
Niners. Yeah, I mean, I think we could talk about this, before we got here, but I think the Niners are a shell of themselves.
Oh, yeah,
I agree.
They missed their window.
I agree.
They're in the rebuilding stage right now.
They did.
I don't agree with Philly's assessment that they're just the best team in the conference, right now.
Who, the Eagles?
Yeah, I don't.
I disagree with that.
Literally, who's better in the conference than them right now?
Healthy Detroit,
I think there's a lot of danger.
Detroit's defense is still suspect.
I mean, it's not like it's not close.
Listen, I'm not saying the Eagles are. I don't think the Eagles right now are as good as they were a year ago, but they're still. I don't think anybody has done enough to catch them yet. And that's saying that's changed.
That's what's part of this week. That's what this weekend's
right.
About.
I get it. We don't play football this Sunday. I totally get it. I think Washington. I thought if they would have gotten DK Metcalf, I think that would have been a lot scarier than Debo. I think Debo is a shell of his former self, and I think that Debo's better as a guy that moves around, not just as a receiver. But if you would have added DK Metcalf, which I thought was going to happen. I thought DK was going to Washington. I think Washington would have took a giant step, but I don't think any of these teams call. And I'm not trying to be braggadocious.
Yes, you are.
I'm just saying right now where we're at. No, I'm not.
Can I?
It's a good team we got.
Brian, can I say this real fast? Because I mentioned this. I just remember this because I was talking about how I fear the Cowboys a little bit this weekend because of what they may do, right? The desperate moves that they may make. Nobody in the world knew that Penix was going to be drafted by the Falcons last year, right? Point. And so Penix, that was the Falcons were kind of laying in the weeds, right? They go out and get Kirk Cousins. Everyone thinks, they're good at quarterback, and then all of a sudden here comes Penix. So my point being is some team is going to do something that nobody will see coming. You know what I mean?
You better hope it ain't enough.
And I worry that the Cowboys could be that team this draft, and maybe it's because you guys are a rival, and I'm always keep my eyes on my rivals. But that's where that was kind of the example.
That's because
something I thought about.
I know what it is, because when Pizzle looks at the division, he goes, the team that we have the best chance of beating is the Cowboys. That's it. But Brian, I will say this about the Eagles trade rumors. One that may be a little bit valid is that there were rumors coming out yesterday that the Eagles could be looking to trade that 32nd pick for an actual player on another team, a veteran player, somebody, of importance, like they kind of do with A.J. Brown. I don't know. Because I don't think it would be a lot of people. I would assume if I had to guess, it would be an edge rusher, right? I would think that's the kind of position you would do. But I don't think they would do it with like T.J. Watt. I don't think they're going to spend that kind of pick on a 31-year-old and then pay him all that money. I think the only guy I can think of, because I think it's somebody probably nobody knows of is available right now, but the only guy I can think of is Travon Walker from Jacksonville. That would be the only guy I can think of that I could see the Eagles pulling the trigger on that. Georgia, but we do have those rumors, huh?
He went to Georgia, didn't he?
Yeah, of course.
There's the connection.
Yeah, of course.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's interesting because I often think of that. Like, what is that? Like Pizzle's saying, a move. I just, Mark, I don't know. I mean, what move? I mean, I'm more like a Jeffrey Simmons, like a non-sexy type move. I would be more happy about, and that's, to me, that's sexy because you got to stop the run. You have to be able to stop the run in this league. So, Mark,
they got to get creative. And here's the bottom line: we've got too many needs.
It's not like they can't do it.
Oh, I know they can do that. But here's the thing: the bottom line is, we do need to. Cal Pistol was 100% right. We need more weapons. We can't just go out here with just CeeDee Lamb. And looking at Miles Sanders, who's been in the league 6 years, after 4 years, typically running backs start going downhill, with the exception of Saquon. Okay, we've got aging running backs. I'm going to look at it and say, I don't know that we're in much better shape right now at running back than we were last year. And I feel like you're better off getting a running back in this draft and maybe making a trade for the wide receiver. You know, I would rather have somebody who's a veteran.
Would you like Tyreek Hill?
You know, Tyreek Hill is kind of old, and he's got a lot of baggage. I mean, just a dude with
baggage.
Five baby's mamas in 1 year while being married. I mean, come on, what are you thinking, dude?
Maybe the Giants will trade you Malik Neighbors.
Yeah,
they trade everybody else.
Thanks, Philly. I appreciate that.
That would be. I'd take that one.
I think he's a hell of a player. Hell of a player.
I think Neighbors wants to come to Washington because
there we go.
Oh, sure.
There we go.
We got Washington fans with visions of grandeur now.
So
after
one
season.
One player leaves the Giants, and everybody thinks the Giants just some garage sale.
Well, you know what it is. Like there's literally rumors out there that Thibodeau going to Philly if the Giants draft the ball.
Hold on. Cop Pizzle, wasn't it you who just said
I didn't make it up.
that in each of the last 4 Super Bowls, a first-round pick of the Giants?
First round? No, it's the last 5 Super Bowls.
5 Super Bowls.
That's it.
The Giants.
The last 5 Super Bowls has had a first-round draft pick for the Giants.
Wow, in them.
Why did your team win that game? Y'all be sitting pretty.
Oh, I watched Pizzle's video when he goes, "Yeah, F all you giant content creators."
Well, first of all, I don't even like. Okay, I would like Travis Hunter, but I don't care to have Cam Ward. I mean, I don't.
You're not a Cam Ward guy.
I'm not a Cam Ward guy, but I am.
It's
not a big deal. But I would like Travis Hunter. That would be cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the Giants would like to have him to replace the what we lost with Saquon. You know, someone like that, someone talented like that, and so. But obviously, he's probably going to go to the Browns, right?
So I have a question for you, Pizzle, because I'm confused about this. Why is the coach of the Giants still the head coach of the Giants? I have no idea.
Oh, Mo, if I had that answer, but I'd probably be a millionaire. But I don't have that. I mean, I struggle with that thought too. But I actually think Dable might be. I don't know. Dable obviously won Coach of the Year in 2022.
He's a good offensive mind.
I think he's a good coach. I think the issue is that I think there's some guys butting the heads up top.
And I don't. He got tape on somebody in the front office.
Well, the GM. No, the GM.
I don't know. I don't know that the GM is any good.
Yeah,
how did he keep his job? I mean,
I don't know.
Not only did they do bad and have a bad year, but that whole Barkley thing on inside the behind the scenes on the
Hard Knocks.
That looked so bad.
And the owner's he's our highest selling jersey.
I agree. That's why I said at the start of this stream, Philly, that you want to talk about 2 seats that are on fire.
Yeah.
Those 2 seats are on fire. And so the Giants, Brian brought up the fact that the Giants could trade back into the first and potentially get a quarterback. I agree with him. I think the Giants are going to be active on night 1 and 2 of the draft because they have to make something happen. I like what we did defensively in free agency. I think we're going to be better defensively, but we too need to have some offensive as well.
The problem that if I was a Giant fan, I would really struggle with is that you keep this GM and then you have to wonder where his intentions and where his head is, because let's face it, you think he's really worried about the draft picks they got 2 years from now, 3 years from now?
No.
He's worried and focused on keeping his job. 100%. That's all he cares about. So you go out, you bring in Russell Wilson, and what do? You win, 3 more games, 4 more games? Now you're taking yourself out of position where maybe you could get a top franchise quarterback if you don't get a guy this year. Mm-hmm. To me, you almost force yourself to have to come out of this draft with a quarterback or you're screwed. Well, you're going to set your team back another 3-4 years.
But Phil, and I'm not calling you a casual because I know you're a diehard Eagle, but I do not like the thought that you can only get a franchise quarterback in the top 5
I get
draft
it.
picks.
No,
I mean, they're
no, I get it.
quarterbacks. I mean, obviously they have Dak, who
Yeah.
he's not a
No,
first overall. But
I get
you
it.
can get a quarter. There is somebody potentially in this draft who's going to be taken in the 2nd round or 3rd round that may be a Pro Bowl NFL player. Like
I
they're
agree
there.
with that.
It's
I agree with that. But the problem and the reason I say that isn't because you just have to get a guy in the top 3 or something like that. The reason I say it is because the track record of the Giants over the last 12 years have been so bad in who they valued in terms of quarterbacking and what they've done, that to me, you almost need like a can't miss pick in the top 100%. Of the draft. That's the reason I say it. Not because you're right. You look, Randall Cunningham, 2nd round pick, Jalen Hurts. I mean, how many picks have we seen quarterbacks later in the draft? Just question is, can the Giants make that pick? And is the coach focused on that? Hey, I'm going to get a guy in the 2nd round and develop him 2-3 years. Is that what he's focused on?
Well, see, this is why
focused on winning more games.
This is why I think the Shador thing's interesting, because if you draft Shador, then you get to make the claim of like, wait a minute, we got our guy. Give us more time. That's a fear.
But then you got this old quarterback that you didn't help out for this upcoming year.
100%.
And then you're the GM. Are you thinking, well, if I don't win a lot of games this year, it ain't going to matter what Shador does next year. I'm getting fired. So to me,
Deion's coming in.
I think the Giants should have just started over and got a GM in there that would have like given him time. But I do basically agree with what you're saying on you can find a quarterback at a certain time. The problem is I don't know that the Giants can find that guy.
I feel it. They have to prove it, right? I mean, some of Joe Shane's draft picks up until this point, I think the totality of them have not been great. If I'm just being honest, I think some of the best Giant players, including one that went to you, was a Dave Gettleman pick, right? So Dave Gettleman got Saquon Barkley. Eagle fans can't talk crap to me about Dave Gettleman because clearly he got Saquon right, because Saquon's obviously a great player. So, the fact is that a lot of the best players that we have were Dave Gettleman picks.
Nobody ever thought. Yeah, well, go ahead, Momo.
If you don't coach these players up, have people to coach players up, they're not going to do what they shouldn't, what they're expected to do. Mm-hmm. When there's expectation kills players, because you started reading your name in the press. You on Sports Center, you this. Expectation always kills very good players. So if these players can't be coached up,
Mo, you just said something that is a huge problem amongst fan bases in the National Football League. When you draft a player, and I'm actually saying that it's smart. When a player is drafted, for example, in the top 5, especially a quarterback, the expectation is so high that it almost can't even be met. It can't even be met. When you draft a guy like Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round, there is no huge expectation for him to be successful because he's not a top 5 pick. So that's another issue with a guy like, for example, Shador Sanders. If you draft him at 3, then the expectation is he better be a Patrick Mahomes, and I don't think he's going to be. He better and obviously Jaden Daniels lived up to that expectation, if not more last season. Wow. And so the draft, that's one of the things that's awful about the draft, is the fact of when these guys are selected so high, the fan bases are just assume, oh, this guy's going to be a monster, and they forget these are 22-year-old kids, young guys.
To piggyback what you just said. So you had Stroud last year meeting his expectation, and he was a freshman. And then you got Daniels. Now, whoever quarterback comes in the 1st round, it's gonna be the same thing. It's not gonna happen 3 years in a row. It's not gonna happen. It's a fluke.
No.
But theoretically,
I'll mention that C.J. Stroud took a step back this year, FYI, Momo.
But theoretically, based on how the draft is run, you would think that Caleb Williams was going to have a better year than Jaden Daniels because the fact that he's the number one pick. But I would argue now that Jaden Daniels looked like a better quarterback than Caleb Williams last year. Now, some of that has to be what team they're on. But my point being is that's what's wrong with the NFL draft is these expectations that come with being selected at a certain spot. And at the end of the day, when you are drafted third overall, it's no different than the guy. It should be no different than the guy who's third overall in the second round, right? Because at the end of the day, they're both coming to a brand new situation and coming out of college. These guys get these huge contracts. Cam Ward is being the number one pick and get a fat contract based on what he did in college, and he hasn't played. And he hasn't played one professional NFL down.
And Pistol, they're going to, if you're a number one pick, you're going to a bad team.
Yeah, a bad team. And honestly, I know there's some people that may, like if Shedeur falls, some people are going to make fun of him. But if he goes and lands in the 20s,
that's probably good for him.
That's fantastic for him.
It's fantastic.
Look at a guy like I don't want to say Bo Nix because but he was. My point being is, I think he landed in a better situation in Denver than let's say Chicago, right? I mean, he ended up with a better team and looks. The point being is like when you are drafted a little bit later in that first round, you're going to overall a playoff team.
Yes.
Mahomes was not a top 5 draft pick. He got to land right there in a nice cushy spot in Kansas City with Andy Reid. And Mahomes may not be Mahomes in Jacksonville.
I agree.
And yes, right, Mar. He had time to get his shit together because they had a competent aging quarterback in Alex Smith. Mm-hmm. So, but yes, these guys get these expectations on. I mean, the reality is Cam Ward is going to have to try to change the Tennessee Titans immediately, and it's not fair to him.
So I was listening to Belichick spit out that he regret not picking up the Ravens quarterback in the draft because he passed him up. Lamar. I say, why are you talking about this now after the fact?
But I would even, and Lamar that night that a lot of people gave him grief because he was falling. Lamar landed in a better situation.
Great situation.
Mm-hmm. He landed with a great coach and a much better team. So
better organization.
On draft night, if Shedeur starts falling, I know a lot of people will start giving him grief, but the reality is that's probably only going to be better for him in the long run.
Long term, yes.
Mm-hmm. I actually think Shedeur could be good. To me, what I wonder about Shedeur Sanders is how is he going to handle when things don't go well? How's he going to handle the pressure? Because look, I mean, his dad was the head coach. His dad comes off, for whatever. I like Deion too now that he's retired, but I mean, it comes off like he's almost like over controlling in some ways. How is Shedeur Sanders going to handle a situation like
the pressure he had?
That would be the question I have.
Well, his dad, who I love too, doesn't do him any favors when he gets his jersey retired for not really doing all that much.
Right.
I'm sorry. I think he did do the pressure he had at Colorado to win. And he made a couple comebacks in games, and all the pressure he had to put on the Sanders name because his daddy behind him. And then the press conference, and every time he wins, and every time he go out there, he had no blocking. He really had no wide receivers.
Yeah. No question. No question.
I agree.
But I agree with you. I think he made Jackson State, and he made Colorado relevant again. There's no question. I don't know that warrants a jersey retirement, though. Travis Hunter.
Of course not.
Travis Hunter, I understand because the young man won a Heisman, but I don't know if that warrants for Shedeur. So that's what I'm saying is that, like, the pressure that Shedeur is going to face is based on pressure that has been laid upon him by his father and expectations of that.
So we all know that the young man, he could play the offense and defense. Apparently, some Giants person said they welcome him. They draft him. They're going to have him go on both sides of the ball, much as he wants. I don't believe that at all.
I don't either. No. Not full time. Not full time.
No, I don't believe it either.
All right, as we wrap this up, we'll let Mark talk. He's been sitting. He's falling asleep back there.
No, actually, There's all hell's kind of breaking loose with Micah Parsons right now.
Yeah, well, what's going on? I'm a
I've been kind of going through this. Basically, he's going. He may not do everything as far as being in practice, but he knows he needs to be here because of learning the playbook, new coaches, and things like that. And it's kind of getting a little antsy about the contract and so on. And also went off and basically said the D-Law type shit won't be going on in this locker room. So there's a whole bunch of things in here that are going to be interesting.
Let me ask you something.
I love it.
Yeah, let me ask you something. We heard about how, Micah and Jerry Jones were going to share a suite at the Cotton Bowl.
And they did.
And they're going to talk. He wants a contract.
Now he's pregnant.
And now, his buddy Jerry Jones didn't give him his contract. Why are they waiting? What are they waiting for? I told
Are they waiting for T.J. Watt to get his deal? So it costs us more.
I think he don't want to pay early. Because God forbid the player drops dead before the start of the season, and they don't want to have to pay money. Everybody laughs at that, but I swear that's what it is.
Yeah. You're going to get Watt.
They're worried about them having all that money and the whole offseason to do something.
Don't get me wrong. It's not really going to affect the salary cap. We're going to save regardless. We're what, 38 million under the cap. We're going to get another 10, 15 at least.
All this fuss for a special
Oh, shut up, Momo.
Dude.
Momo, take your ashy ass out of here. Okay? Take your ashy ass out of here. Freaking Commander fans finally have a winning season, and they oh geez, just shut up, man.
Listen, the Commanders have to draft better. You cannot win Super Bowls just picking up free agents. So until you start to draft better, and I don't think Dan Quinn, he's a good coordinator. I don't think he's a great coach. I know he got to a Super Bowl, but he also gave up the biggest lead ever to Tom Brady. So I don't know.
That's true.
You know what I mean? I don't think that was a great New England team.
I know that most Cowboy fans and Jerry Jones wanted him to be the head coach at one point.
Now, if they would have done it. They waited, and he would have taken the Cowboy head coaching job. I could tell you that.
He would have took it.
Not over the Commanders. Actually, he's from the area. He's from
game time.
Yes.
I'm going to start some shit right now.
Go ahead, start it.
Jerry Jones was talking about two big trades today and how far they are with Micah. What if one of the big trades is trading Micah?
Oh, listen. I know people get mad at me. I know Ultra Cowboy. I know he's in Dallas. He's
trading him to the Eagles. Okay.
Could you imagine?
That would be hilarious.
Oh, God.
If I can get the right deal, there's no one player for me on my Cowboys team that.
What would you want for Parsons?
Okay, in fact, here's what
theoretically
we've had so many crazy, things that have been said and proposals. Okay, so let's go ahead and say that the Cowboys trade Micah Parsons to the Eagles for their first round pick.
I don't want that.
And what players are we going to try and get? AJ Brown?
He ain't getting AJ.
Huh?
I don't
you want a defensive lineman? The one, what's his name? The really good one.
Jalen Carter?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not.
You don't know.
Jalen Carter. I ain't touching. I ain't trading him.
No, not at all. I don't know. That's a big hypothetical. I think what they do, honestly, Mark, I think they re-sign him, and he's a good player. He's going to continue to put up the stats, gentlemen.
The question is when will they pay him though?
He'll get paid in camp like they always do.
I just don't understand why they wait so long. I don't get it. You're going to get if TJ Watt signs
45
for him.
He's going to get
45. Then he's going to get paid more.
I know.
Remember, Jerry Jones is the idiot that said, you could only pay 5 or 6 players. And so we wait because we want to be sure that we pay the right ones. And that way we don't lose money. And it's like, how did you become rich?
But here's the thing about all this with Michael Parsons. What I'm about to say, I mean this.
Here we go.
Michael Parsons should get every dime he gets. Don't take a hometown discount.
Well, the longer it stretches out, the more I say screw you. That's what I do.
You blame him? You're putting it on him?
No. Here's my thing. He came to. Oh no, hold on. He came to them and said, "Look, I don't have to be the highest paid player."
That's crazy.
He showed up without a new contract.
He don't have to be the highest paid. So what do we hope?
So what are we waiting for?
What are we waiting for?
He's done everything. He showed up training camp. He's working on trying to be a leader and everything, and you're still kind of screwing him. At this point, I kind of say, "Oh, okay. Don't take my kindness as a weakness.
Sides of your neck.
Go, listen. Go for the jugular."
I would think it would be you have a ballpark of what he's going to make right after Myles Garrett.
We knew the CD contract months before. We knew what the number was, and we waited. Don't ask me.
We know what the Dak Prescott one was going to be.
Well, it would have been.
We talked.
The day Jalen Carter is eligible, it's happening that day.
Yeah.
Right,
I'll tell you
which is a smart thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the difference. I've been saying that for a couple of years. The difference is in management. It is. I think you're seeing what was going on with the Giants is because of the unstable management, not the players necessarily. It's the management. It's coaching.
But Mike is he's getting frustrated though.
That's what I said, that they needed to hurry up and get this thing done. Get him happy, get him whole, get him there working out and everything else. He's kind of saying, take care of me right now. I'm getting pissed.
Mark, maybe Jerry was taken back by the comment Michael said when he said, "I got an agent to do that." When Jerry was trying to talk to him without his agent.
You mean Jerry breaking the rules?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe Jerry was taken back. Well, why do you have to go to your agent? No,
because he's trying to screw the player.
You win Super Bowls from the top down. Okay, the players are the last pieces of the puzzle. You
now,
win
let me
Super Bowls to
say,
shit you do now, and what we're doing now is all this Mickey Mouse bullshit where you say one thing but do another.
Yep.
You're not signing your best player, right? You're not. That's the issue. That's the issue, people. But anyway,
okay, let me say this about the Cowboys.
We're gonna wrap it up, get everybody's final thoughts, and get out of here.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna say about the Cowboys in a second.
Thanks,
actually, the Cowboys done very well. They ain't making big splashes, but they doing pieces and pieces for they team, and that what scares me as a Washington fan.
They've gotten a lot of pieces that nobody's talking about, and good.
Yeah, they don't scare me at all.
Just zip
good.
It,
don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Don't be scared.
They don't scare. I don't think
you've
done enough. I mean, I think you've
us.
done a few things, but you haven't done anything to change the way I view them. I mean, you just got you got no threats on offense. Nobody's scared of Myles Sanders. Nobody's scared of your passing game. Why didn't you go out and get DK Metcalf? Why did the Cowboys go get a DK Metcalf and then draft
the number 12 pick?
Now you're talking
that they're getting a Mecca Buka, or let's say we're getting.
I think that you could get a receiver, but you would have gotten DK Metcalf and then drafted Genty. Now you're talking. Now you got a team. Now I'm like, all right, they can score. Dallas does not scare me because I don't think you have any threats.
Still pretty early.
There's a lot that.
No. Look, when I say it, you got to keep it in context.
The soup is just
right
beginning.
now. I get it. It's early.
All right, let's start with Momo. Momo, final thoughts. Who's your Washington Commanders taking with your 5? Just give me your best pick, your first round pick. Who are you taking? Who you want?
At this point, I was not happy with the off season. So at this point, anybody at this point, because
I don't know what they're doing. I
don't think, because I don't know what they're doing.
Points.
I don't know what they're doing at this point. I really don't. I really don't.
What do you think you need to be able to get close to the Eagles?
To get a close Eagles, we need some defensive tackles.
Yeah, but then why would you let your defensive tackles go? That's what I don't understand.
I didn't understand why Fowler left. Why
didn't you even offer Fowler a contract?
I know. That's why I don't get that.
Sacks for you.
Maybe they was at RFK Stadium smelling that toxic waste in there.
I'm just asking questions that
I don't know.
Made no sense to me what they're doing this offseason. You would think after a season, if anybody could have went as far as they did and got shellacked, it still doesn't mean you should be very happy and you should build off of what you guys did last year. To me, it doesn't look like you build off of that.
No. I agree. I agree
That's all I'm
100%.
saying. I'm not here to hammer you, but they
Now, you
haven't
ain't
done
hammering me.
anything.
I agree with you. But we still going to be first in the division, despite that.
You're just saying that. Then
I thought today was
No,
422,
actually, I
not
believe
420.
that.
What's that, Mark?
I thought today was 422, not 420.
Today's four.
It
Yeah,
is
right.
422.
He high right now.
He must be smoking with Leo, man.
Leo, where Leo at? All right, Mark, go ahead, man. I mean, what do you think we're gonna do at 12? What do you
I
think?
think actually, here's the thing. I think the Cowboys have actually done good at setting themselves up to try and get the best player available. You know, they've tried to bring in some offensive linemen. We've got 15 on the roster. Basically, it's going to be the best.
We picked up a lot of offensive linemen.
It's going to be a battle to see who we can actually keep on here and stuff. But I think they're just basically going to look for who's falling. You never know how the draft's going to set up. I agree with Cop Pizzle. They're the wild card. If they take Sador, I think all of a sudden the draft just changes tremendously. That now the man scramble for quarterbacks.
That's my thing. If we're going to take Shedeur Sanders, why do we?
Oh, no. I'm saying if the Giants take him, that might be the panic where people are now moving up and everything else. That'll be the run on quarterbacks. It might be the run on edge rushers where everybody's worried about getting those. So you don't know what's going to be falling to you. It may end up being one of the offensive linemen because maybe Matthew Golden and McMillan are both gone. I honestly feel like the Cowboys are going to trade back and maybe try and get like Hampton and then be able to have some more picks or possibly a player to fill in a hole. So who knows?
I would say this, Mark. This is 1 year where they've done a decent enough job, not a tip in their hand. We've seen Eagles, Dallas Goedert, they jump ahead of Dallas. We've seen Buffalo Bills jump ahead of them to take Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
We've seen it time and time again where they run their mouth, tipping their their hand, and you see teams jump ahead of the Cowboys. I think they've done a pretty darn good job of keeping people guessing. So we'll see. We'll be here to, and it is what it is. Pizzle, you're up next. We'll save the Super Bowl champs for last. But what do you like? We talked about it, but what are you hoping that they do? And
I don't think they'll do Shedeur. I'll be shocked if Shedeur is the pick at 3. I think the safe thing for them to do is to take Carter. If you see a trade, I think they're backing up to take Jackson Dart. I would love the idea that you suggested of drafting Carter and then trying to sell
and
whatever
get
who. Yeah, Sanders is more appealing to me late in the first round than he would be at 3. If you give me Carter with Sanders, then now we're talking. So when they get done drafting at 3rd, I'm not going to bed just yet because I think there's still a possibility there on Thursday night. So that's kind of where my head's at.
Don't you have to go make some babies
after the draft, Mark? And by the way, if it does what Brian said, if I come out with a Carter and Dart, then I may be having my 3rd kid that night.
Wow.
Okay.
So
might be
breaking
twins.
News. Yeah, breaking news.
There you go.
He said he might go the Tariq Hill route.
Oh my God. Well, no, that would indicate that I don't see.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, I'm a 60-minute man.
Oh God. All right. Philly 500. Again, I did do my mock the other day where I literally had every defensive end gone, defensive tackles, Nolan Smith's gone. You were looking at, when I did it, at Donovan Jackson, guard out of Ohio State, I thought was a possibility. But I ended up giving you, Momo, I thought your Washington Commanders made a mistake and took the safety out of South Carolina, Eamon Wari. I think he's going to probably be a bust. He's a workout warrior. He doesn't really know the position too well. I think Malachi Starks is the best safety. I have them taking Starks to 32, but you're saying what? You're thinking they're going to move up?
I think they're trading up. I actually think they're going to go way up. I think they're going higher than I thought because I think there's just so many teams that want to go back that I think that there's going to be something that's going to be able to get done. I think, look, if I had to guess what I would like Malachi Starks. I really would because I think he could start day one. But I think that they want to try to go up and get an edge rusher. So I'm going to say they go up, hope somebody drops, and they're going to try to go way up and get James Pierce Jr. or somebody like that to get out of Boston College, maybe. But I think that's what they would like to do. Me personally, I would like to see Malachi Starks.
Yeah, it's funny you brought up James Pierce because that's the latest rumor. He is actually the number one talent on the ESPN's top 100 is James Pierce Jr. He had some off the field issues at the University of Tennessee. Dallas is rumored to be hot for him.
Before the last college, he was projected to be a top 5 overall pick.
Yes. So
what were the you know what the off the field issues were?
I don't.
Well, one of the issues was the fact that he wouldn't play when the coaches asked him to play. Like he only would do so many snaps because I think he was worried about getting hurt.
That won't fly with us. So
no, I mean he's a pro now. So I mean the idea is that he's a pro.
Yeah, right. I think they want somebody like that. Walter Nolan's a guy to keep an eye on too. It really depends on what they feel about Jordan Davis. Pierce
to me would be such a typical Eagles move because they take advantage of situations like that where everybody's saying, "Nah, we're moving on from him," and then they say, "Well, there's value here," and so we're going into, like I said, the last college season. That guy was a top 5 draft pick, or at least ranked there. And as the season went on, it fell. That's such a typical Eagles move. At least how Howie's been doing it.
That's my number 2 guy, by the way. So I would not have a problem with it. But I agree. I think that's why I think they're going up. I think Howie's going to see the value in trading up while everybody wants to go back. And I think he's going to try to do it. So, I'll say James Pierce Jr. I'll throw that out there. Somehow he falls and the Eagles get him. But I'll take Malachi Starks. I think it might be that's the perfect fit.
Like last year where Howie was trying to get up to get Kenyon Mitchell, only to have Mitchell fall in your lap.
Well, yeah, I mean, nobody ever thought that, the line was, that you were going to have such a run on offensive linemen. Yeah. I think that's also a big part of this thing, right? You've got to see how the draft falls. If edge rushers and stuff are coming off the board, then, they may just say, we're not going to be able to get up high enough. And then they just, go after a Malachi Starks or somebody like that. But I think if there's an edge rusher there, they're going for it.
Okay.
All right. Well, listen, everybody, I think that was a spirited talk. We got off the rails when Philly brought up Dak. It is what it is. He
knew I do what I do.
I know. Listen, everybody, I appreciate it. I have all these men. These are, for my money, these are like the 3 best content creators that I like to watch. Philly 500.
Thank you, man.
Pizzle.
And then there's Momo.
Momo, thank you so much for coming in here.
Hold up. I'm about to do my own, as you know.
You're going to do your own YouTube channel?
Oh, of course.
Well, listen, good luck with that. It's a dog-eat-dog world.
I know it is.
I've learned that my friends are all of a sudden I don't hear from people anymore. Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. Mark warned me about it. But
the hate is
I wish
real.
you well. What's that?
But Mark says I hate everything, so haters will hate, I guess.
Listen, guys like you do well, so maybe if you just hate, you'll have.
I don't hate. I just tell the truth, and people can't recognize the truth.
But I have all their channels pinned at the top. Again, these guys are the best at what they do.
Pizzle, I'm gonna follow you, Pizzle.
I really am grateful to be able to host a show like this. Man. So thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you all, and I will talk to you on the other side. Good night, everybody. See you soon.
Night.
Thank you, guys.
Out, good people. Okay, and they're out. Alrighty, good people. As always, I appreciate everybody. Yeah, that was fun. And we got our fireside chat. I got to catch up on everything that is Micah Parsons because it seems like he's kind of gone off a bit. And so we'll end it with this.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. the human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Brought to you by Lincoln Mercury. Nobody has more kinds of cars for more kinds of people. See them at the sign of the cat. By Goodyear, makers of the custom Steel Guard radial tire. And by State Farm Mutual. Almost anywhere you live, there's a State Farm agent nearby. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.